Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Nothing But Bangers, aka Bangers, aka I'm streaming with the best tournament host that you will see every weekend, Ursiiday. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and can't wait to see some of these games and these matchups for the top 32.
Yeah, I'm so excited for today as well. I just realized I was muted when I introduced you. So I will say again, this is Nothing But Bangers. Oh, dropping my headset now. He is a Pokemon Pocket content creator with a lot of fantastic content for Pokemon Pocket, both competitively and for newer players as well. You guys can check him out on all of his different socials. And I'm so sorry for being muted at the beginning. That is so funny on my end. So let me quickly. I think it should be fixed.
Yeah, we've got the audio worked out. I just heard I've got the stream on as well, and I ended up hearing it. That was pretty funny. But yeah, like I said, I'm super excited about these games. I think that people are going to enjoy the first matchup that we've got ready whenever that gets started. But man, there's some spicy decks in this top cut. And anything that kind of stands out to you when you take a look at some of these different players or different decks?
Yeah, I thought some of these were so cool today. We have that Volcarona list that I tweeted about yesterday, and we talked about briefly about that Volcarona before stream started. We also have some interesting ones like that Greninja Farfetch deck, and even seeing that Articuno EX and Greninja as well. Is there any you're super interested in seeing today?
Oh, I mean, you just nailed them. I mean, I've got to check out that Greninja and Farfetch deck. I know some people may actually have questions about the energies that it plays, and I can tell you after speaking to a couple of the pilots, one of them that even went 8-0 in another tournament, that there's no water energy. It's strictly fighting energy. So that'll be very interesting to pop in on if we get a chance to see that deck. And I got to tell you, I'm curious about this Articuno Greninja list. And
Mm-hmm.
it's got an interesting pairing as well for the first match in the top 32. It's going up against that Gyarados Druddigon Greninja list. And, just off of looking at that matchup, in my mind, I would think, oh, well, Gyarados, Greninja, and Druddigon should have a pretty good, solid matchup there. But the data says otherwise. So there's a few decks that I'm definitely interested in checking out. And you can pretty much throw a lot of the records out of the day, out when it comes to this top cut. You can brick, you can have a bad game, and all of a sudden, your worst matchup ends up knocking you out. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, you only get one chance now that you're in top 32. It is single a limb. But that's a great point to make. I also thought that Articuno would be a terrible matchup into Gyarados. It's 140 health, which gets one hit KO'd by Gyarados. Gyarados can't be one hit KO'd by Articuno. But I think you're talking something like an 83% win rate versus Gyarados so far. So we'll have to see how that plays out because I would love to see that as well. And then obviously there's that Volcarona against the Pikachu. You said you played the Volcarona a bit last night?
Yeah, man. Hey, chat. One thing to be on alert: if we see Larvesta in the opening spot, in the active spot, that's going to be a very tough scenario, specifically when you start talking about this Pikachu matchup that can immediately start putting pressure. Now, if you've played Larvesta at all, starting with it, you have to have Leaf to be able to pivot out of the active spot, or else, hey, you're risking, basically giving up a free point, and especially against a Pikachu deck, you never know how fast they can just start putting damage out there. So that's something to watch. And one of the cool things about that deck, and just to kind of give you an idea of one of its game plans, look for Larvesta to try to get an early knockout on something like a Zebstrika,
Mm-hmm.
and then for Charizard to pop in and knock out a EX. That's probably going to be the main win condition that Volcarona list will have.
That's very, very true. I cannot wait to see how that works out. We are officially getting our top 32 live here, guys. So our players can go on and get their matchups officially. 1 second.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Just letting.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, if would be interesting too. I don't know if chat has a deck that they think is going to win and take home this tournament. Personally, after doing my recap of this top 32, I know this may not be too popular, but I could definitely see Mewtwo taking this tournament home. And it did secure a few spots in the top 32. I believe, looking at the numbers, I believe Mewtwo takes up 6 spots. So that's quite a bit of spots in the top cut as well.
Yeah, that's very true. So your call is for Mewtwo this week, then, officially?
Official.
Okay, my guess is a Arcanine list or a Charizard variant.
Okay.
That's my guess for this week. That's what I called yesterday for the tournament start as well, and I'm not dropping it. I'm keeping it. I'm a big believer of the Charizard variants, and Charizard's the only mon that can one-hit KO everything. So, and in some cases, withstand a hit by everything. We'll have to see, but that's my guess.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting when you take a look at the numbers of the top 32. And by the way, feel free to just, cut the screen, whatever you need to do. Shout out to Ursi. She's doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. But when you take a look at the top 32, there's 7 Pikachu Zebstrika decks, 6 Mewtwo Gardevoir decks, 4 Arcazard variants, 4 Aerodactyl Primeape variants, 4 Exeggutor Celebi Superior decks, and then a couple Gyarados Greninja decks. And then when you take a list or take a look at the rest of the decks, there are a lot of one-ofs. So like one Aerodactyl, Farfetch'd. And then, you've got the Charizard Volcarona. And then interestingly enough, there's a Pikachu Raichu variant. So a lot of spice in the top, and we'll have to see what deck comes out on top.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what we get. I do have the pairings here for people to see. What deck did you say you wanted for us to watch first today?
Oh, we gotta check out the Zebstrika. I believe it's number 4 seed against I think it's the number.
Let's see. Is that Mag versus Mago KL? Let's see here.
Yes. Getting the day started off with a little bit of spice. Volcarona.
So let's see. Let me see if we can hop in. It does look like Mag is in channel 4 right now. You want to go hop with me into that channel in the Discord?
Okay, let's do it.
Perfect. Let me bring this up.
All right.
Oh, they're already in the game.
Oh, they wanted to get things started.
Why don't you tell us how it looks, and then while I get it loaded up.
Okay, so turning on the stream, Moltres is in the active. They've got Larvesta on the bench. I'm assuming, hard to tell who went first, but Zapdos EX is swinging into a Moltres. It's already down to 60 HP. And right now, it looks like the Larvesta player is just desperately trying to find another Pokemon. Pikachu is on the bench with 1 energy, and there's already an electric-type basic on the bench as well outside of the Pikachu. Moltres is doing its fire dance, currently flipping coins. It flipped 3 heads. Unfortunately, all 3 of the energy are going to a Larvesta. No Volcarona yet. But Fire player is currently sitting with a hand of no other Pokemon that are playable. And the Pikachu player just evolves Zebstrika. And they're going to go ahead and switch into their Pikachu and collect the first knockout on this Moltres EX. And unfortunately, this game is looking very grim because Pikachu is going to collect the first 2 points of this game by knocking out this Moltres. So it looks like Larvesta is going into the active. Just looking at the hand, I mean, the Charmander was just drawn. Unfortunately, it's probably too late. And as I kind of alluded to earlier, the Larvesta being in the active spot, not a great sign, and it's only got 80 HP. However, the Pikachu is only dealing 60 currently. So if this Larvesta can hang on, maybe the game can get a little bit closer, but unfortunately, Pikachu player just ripped a professor's research, and they found their third Pokemon to put on the bench, and a scoop is what happened. So we got the game on the screen. So, yeah, so that's game one. Yeah, unfortunately, just a tough scenario to try to get out there.
Yeah, that's definitely a bit of a rough spot to be in there. I mean, it's not exactly what you were saying where the Larvesta is starting in the active spot, but not being able to find your evolution is always going to lead to a bit of a downfall with this deck. And that is 4 slots that this Charizard deck is having to commit to that Larvesta and Volcarona.
Yeah, and in that case, even if it was Growlithe Arcanine, I mean, the Growlithe would have just been knocked out as well. So, unfortunately, just like a lose-lose situation. But here we go into game 2, and it looks like the Pikachu player gets to go second. So that's a rough spot. But
For
here we go. Let's
sure.
get this party started. Good opener.
And it is up on stream now as well. At least we have Moltres this turn. At least we have Moltres this turn. But
Yeah, this is a solid start, right?
for sure, for sure. It does. I wonder if we are going to play this turn, if we're going to wait. There's always the chance that you wait, but it does look like we're just going to go in and pass. Don't think Mago is running red card. They're not. I don't really expect it in Pikachu. So no reason not to hold that card in their hand and just retreat next turn when we actually can get energy to start powering up and using that Infernal Dance.
Yeah, no red card in either player's deck list. And what I like about this play, some people may be wondering, hey, why don't you slap it down? Why don't you switch
Mm-hmm.
into the Moltres? Well, you're saving a little bit of damage on your Moltres, right? Especially when you talk about that's potentially 40 damage that it's taking immediately, putting it in one-shot range of something like a Pikachu EX.
Yeah, that's very true. Charizard doesn't really care as long as it can get evolved up. 20 damage on Charizard's not going to do much to him. Puts him at what, 160, still needing to have three heads by that Zapdos, or 4 heads by that Zapdos. So
Yep.
it doesn't matter if it gets the damage. And the other thing is if you go in and switch in that Moltres, Mago is running 2 Sabrina. They could just Sabrina back around the Moltres, and then how are you going to retreat that next turn?
Yeah, and when you take a look at this sequence, now the only thing that you have to be a little bit nervous if you're as the fire player is you're not able to put down that Charmeleon.
Mm-hmm.
So if Zebstrika comes down, might be a little bit of trouble for this Charmander because the priority might be, hey, let's cut Charizard off and keep them from having the one threat that I really can't deal with.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, it's a bit of a timer here. Uh, Mago is definitely saying you better get that Charmeleon because otherwise your Charizard, not Charizard, your Charmander is going to be KO'd in just 2 turns. And Zebstrika is going to come down just like you said.
Yeah, and if I'm the Pikachu player here, anything that prevents Charizard from hitting the board, I'm a fan of. I mean, I don't want to see that big beast come out and start swinging for 200 damage. It's much easier to deal with something like a Volcarona. Yeah, and that's exactly the line that this Pikachu player is taking. Oh, there's a
Doing it
Charmeleon.
Charmeleon.
Uh-oh.
Which is going to give us a little bit more time, but we are committing that energy instead to the Larvesta. We do have Volcarona. I don't know if we're going to decide to play it right now, but it's definitely an interesting card. Obviously, it can't knock out Zebstrika just yet, but it could potentially knock out Blitzel on the bench. Not that we'd be seeing it swing this turn.
Yeah, this is getting sketch. I mean, looking at the hand, it's good that they're going to be able to pivot 2 times because
Mm-hmm.
they've got, I believe they've got some good cards in their hand that may allow that to happen. So even if Volcarona does come out to the active, they should be able to get out of it relatively quickly. But the key, they're on a clock right now. They need to find Charizard probably in this next turn, or this game is going to be probably not good.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, and losing a point is never fun. Luckily, Larvesta and Volcarona only 1 point, so they do need to like KO a Moltres to like in the match. But oh, yeah, that doesn't look
Yeah,
like
they
that's a Charizard.
yeah, they whiffed unfortunately.
And this Moltres is not cooperating either. Not
No, I
cooperating.
mean right now, I mean this is unfortunately one of those spots where Arcanine could maybe carry. This is definitely one of those spots where you look at this and you say, "Hey, if this was Arcanine, what kind of position would I be in?" And yeah, maybe a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. If this was an Arcanine, which is what you had to switch out for this Volcarona, I mean, Arcanine basically sweeps Pikachu in most cases. There is obviously a second 1 pointer down here, but is Volcarona the better choice? We're not able to KO this turn. We're not really able to put out that same threat that if it was an Arcanine, they would need to be dealing with Arcanine instead of continuing to snipe that Charmeleon.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So here's a Sabrina here. I think you've got to send in the Moltres. And the good thing is, again, with 4 pivot cards in the deck, you've got 2 Leaf 2 X speed. It's very
Mm-hmm.
easy to get in and out of the active spot. Now it's looking like the win condition for the Charizard player here with the Volcarona. Oh wow, double potion. That's
Ouch.
backbreaking. Yeah, I mean, I was just about to say that if Volcarona can knock out that Zapdos, you've got a puncher's chance. But man, that double potion, you could deal with one, but that second one, devastating.
For sure, and that really just puts him right out of range of being KO'd by Volcarona. I don't know. Do you keep swinging into Zapdos there, or do we pivot to someone else? It looks like we might be powering up a second Volcarona though, uh, with the Moltres this turn.
Well, the problem is if you leave the Moltres in the active, Zapdos can win the game next turn.
Very true. Yeah.
So you pretty much right now have to make a decision. Are you going to trust it and just say, "Hey, give me one more turn and maybe I can swing the game with some heads?"
Mm-hmm.
Or do you just get out and try to? I think yeah, I think this is the only potential winning path. You're going to need a lot of heads here, and then you're going to
True.
need your opponent to just whiff on these coin flips.
Yeah, and it does look like we have given up on the Charmander line. Both energies go to that Volcarona and the Larvesta on the bench as well. Hmm.
And unfortunately, if you take a look at the deck list for the Volcarona Charizard player, there's no Giovanni, so that 90 breakpoint is going to be something that they can't really answer. And yeah, this the game could just end on the spot right here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, all he needs is 3 energies. Three. I mean, that's still 33%, and he hits it. That's going to be game, and
Yep.
that's going to be a 2-0 where that Zapdos goes on and finishes off Mag, knocking them out of our top 32. Um, Sad to see for sure.
Hey, points for a cool deck.
Yeah.
Glad that they were able to get this far. Again, you just kind of look at that game and you say, man, if I'm playing just traditional Arcazard there with 2 Arcanine and 2 Growlithe, could I have squeaked that out? Yeah, on the flip side, you don't know exactly what all the other games look like, and hey, maybe there's potential that Volcarona won him, some other games that we just weren't able to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it's ends up going here. Let me see if I can find us another match. 1 second here. Um, oh, I'm gonna cover that up. Uh, doesn't
Yeah, I
look.
know that there was the Articuno Greninja matchup, 11 versus 22,
Yeah,
Nelson versus Stormy.
they're having a bit of trouble right now. It looks like. So we're gonna have to find another one. Let's see
What
here.
about that Arcazard versus Greninja and Farfetch'd? Is that one still going on? Let's see.
Charizard versus Greninja. That is shiny.
Big yes.
Just trying to find it real quick so I can get into that chat. They're still going for sure. Um, let me check what room they're in. Oh, they have a Twitch channel. Which position would you like to be in, or POV would you like to watch?
Whichever I guess we could watch the whichever one's easier. I'm not sure that I know they're the difference.
We can watch either. Let's watch the Greninja's position. Is that good with you, POV?
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
I sent you the link then for that. And let me quickly bring that up.
Okay, heading over there right now.
Uh,
And then you're able to go ahead and get it on screen. I'm guessing.
I'm gonna get it up as fast as possible here.
Okay. Hey, by the way, if you're curious what's going on in the game right now, Arcanine just switched into the active. Looks like it's about to chow down on some duck. Looks like it's about to knock out a Farfetch'd. It does have 60 HP on it, and there is a Marshadow on the bench. But it looks like that Marshadow is one energy away. So that may be the game actually. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like Greninja with the fighting box is going to be able to take down at least this Arcanine. However, it's going to be tied 2-2 points when that happens.
We have it up now on stream here, just making it a little bit bigger. It won't let me do that on the other side. But yeah, it does look like we are taking down that Arcanine, just like you said, with our little Marshadow here. Nothing else is set up for Big Yambo. I wonder what the game plan is going to be for them with.
Yeah, one of the things that I looked at when I was watching, or when I was kind of breaking down these deck lists, is just that the overall bulk of these evolved Pokemon in the Arcazar deck can be a little bit of an issue to overcome. But it looks like Greninja is putting that Charizard on a 2-turn clock.
Very true. Yeah, only 40 40 health left on that Charizard is a big ouchie, and this Moltres is at 1 energy. It basically needs to like hit all 3, power up an Arcanine, and evolve to another Arcanine, or this might just be game for Shiny here. We got 2. Got 2. Not the worst.
Yeah, hey, if there's a pivot card, an X speed, it could transition into an Arcanine if they have it. Oh, unfortunately, the game's over. The game's over, right? It's going to be Hitmonlee in combination with Greninja knocking out the Charizard on the
True.
bench.
That is going to be the end of that match. That's only game 1 for them. That's only game 1 for them. So we'll still get to watch. It looks like their last 2 matches in the set as well. So let's see here.
And by the way, for those that don't have access immediately to the deck list, the Charizard player is actually not bringing any potions. And that deck can be pretty tight for space. So the more damage that gets piled on or chipped throughout the game can create those scenarios like we just saw. So top deck Hitmonlee and able to pivot into the Hitmonlee, put 50 damage on that Charizard for a KO. And I got to tell you, I'm impressed. That's impressive.
Very impressive by them. So we're going to give them a second to get set up into their next match. Let's see here.
But I really do like this deck list that Shiny is bringing, and it's had a great showing. Really, the past week, it's had a pretty good showing, considering the few number of people that are playing it. But here we go, game 2.
Okay.
Strong start.
It up. We have it up. Yeah, Farfetch'd is a super strong start. We'll have to see what they end up doing here. I mean, let's see what Giambo has here. Oh, it's a Charmander start. That seems a lot less strong for our fire player.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the start for, the fighting box for Shiny, the Farfetch'd is either punching the active or, the Hitmonlee is putting damage on the bench. I mean, there's a few better hands than what we're seeing or better openers, but this is a very strong opener for this particular deck.
Yeah, I agree. We'll have to see what. Especially with this strong opening, Gombo is on a timer. Even if this Charmander retreats next the follow-up turn, if they don't have Charmeleon, it's game.
Well, hey, check this out. Even if they do have the Charmeleon, you can already kind of look into the future.
Mm-hmm.
40 damage now. Even if they evolve into the Charmeleon, Giovanni could finish off that Charmeleon
That is
because that would be
true.
90 damage.
That would be, yeah, that could still be a KO. And I wonder if that's how that Charizard got so low last game. 40 health, I mean, it definitely sounds like it got a lot of damage dealt to it really early, and then Shiny just never let up on it, especially with that Greninja. We're researching
And hey,
again.
this is another cool little part of this deck. And Shiny's looking at the graveyard saying, "Oh man, this guy's already drawn, double Professor Research." But when you take a look at Frogadier, the fact that it's a colorless energy attack is so crucial because, you're not ever going to attack with Greninja because it's impossible. However, it is possible that you can do 30 damage with a fighting energy on that Greninja. And also for the future,
Mm-hmm.
you pretty much have your retreat cost covered even if you evolve into a Greninja. So, there's really no way to hide this Charmander now. It's on a clock, and the clock is ticking as we speak.
Yeah, definitely on that clock. We'll have to see. I don't know. It's sad to see it happen like this after they've made it all the way through 10 rounds yesterday. But that's just what happens when, let me just double check how many Growlithe's we're running in this list. Some people have changed to doing 2 Growlithe's as well. Yeah, this one is a 2 Growlithe, 2 Charmander list. You do decrease finding that Moltres drastically with the introduction of 2 extra Growlithe's from, what is it, almost, it goes to 40 to 33%, and we're seeing that here.
Yeah, and I mean you got to think if I tell you that you're going to play 2 Professor's Research in your first 2 turns, you're probably going to take that, every single time. It just so happened that the draws are not going to be enough to get them there. What I find interesting is I'm surprised that they didn't attach to the Arcanine.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in the game, I mean, I would be pressed to just say, hey, Arcanine's got to carry me. And unfortunately, Marshadow is probably going to be the game clinching knockout on my Arcanine if that's the case, though.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I feel like I would be putting all the energies on Arcanine as fast as possible at this point. But it doesn't seem like Yambo is going to try for that. I wonder if we have that Charmeleon and Charizard in hand, and he's just saying, I think I can wait the turns. But
Well, maybe the plan now is let me move in with a full powered Charizard at full health, and maybe I can go ahead and sweep. But man, that's a lot to ask for because I mean it's a single prize deck. You're gonna have to get 3 different knockouts. What an incredible Professor's Research right there, by the way.
yeah, that research was a very nice thing. It gives us a lot of the pieces that we need. So
At this point, if I'm Shiny, I'm considering maybe pivoting to Hitmonlee and let's take down that Charmeleon. I'm definitely looking at that option because it seems like if I'm telegraphing this correctly,
mm-hmm.
it seems like Charizard is the end game for the fire player. They're gonna go against what I'm saying though and just stick with the far-fetched and the active.
Yeah, it does look like that. We're just gonna sit there. I'm surprised we're not putting in, yeah, just like you're saying, like any damage either even on that like Charmeleon in the back, like start putting that pressure back on it.
Because I mean, if you do the math, that could have been 50 damage, and they need to play the Charizard this turn,
Yeah.
or they're pretty much out of energy. You know, they would have one energy left after that, pretty much.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
But I would have definitely been tempted to pivot out of the Farfetch there into the Hitmonlee. But man, that's a I don't know. If we don't see the Charizard right now, then obviously that in hindsight that was probably the correct play. But we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so there's energy on Arcanine.
No Charizard?
Man, I mean, how many cards are in their deck by now? It's got to be like 7 cards, right? I mean,
Yeah, there can't be that many left. I'm pretty sure they were
oh
researching
no.
really early in the game. Ouch, this is
Oh
not what
no.
they want to see here. Uh-oh.
Mm. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting question here because you could just put damage on the Arcanine, and when they pivot out, you just Sabrina it back out, and you win the game on the spot there. So I
Yeah.
guess you don't have to be in a rush right here
Mm-hmm.
to use the Sabrina, but it definitely is kind of giving you those vibes. I mean, but yeah, there's probably no need to use it necessarily.
I mean, this next turn just KOs it. I don't know, like you what you even do here as a Charizard player when you're kind of, in such a difficult position. Moltres hasn't appeared. Obviously, we're having to commit some energy to Arcanine to retreat it in the future, which means we can't power up that Charizard. This is not
Yeah,
the
I think
game.
the only line here is playing a Moltres, so that way you can kind of protect yourself from Sabrina, and hopefully finding a Charizard. And but again, like it's just such an uphill battle. I mean, I think that this is unfortunate. This is probably just going to be a spot where they drew a lot of cards, but they just didn't find that ideal opener of Moltres in the active to start the game. And when you don't find Charizard and there's 6 cards left in your deck, it's kind of out of your hands.
Yeah, it is definitely one of those positions where there's nothing really you can do at the point. Charizard's appearing. I guess it can swing for 60 here, but I mean, and it survives Marshadow. And it survives Marshadow right now.
Yep, yep. Unfortunately, 2-turn clock now, right? Because the Greninja's going to punch for 20, the Marshadow's going to punch for 100, and then Greninja should be the finishing touch on the Charizard. Because again, looking at the deck list, no potions are able to be fit into this deck, and
Yeah,
that looks to be the line that we will see unless there's a different line of thinking.
for sure. Yeah, it just kind of feels like I'm gonna get the 100 here. Ouch. And then even retreating is not gonna be enough.
No, Greninja's going to find you.
Yeah, Greninja will find you. Hitmonlee will find you. There's only,
Hmm.
that's one of the really cool or interesting things to me with the fighting box is, especially before our mini set, a lot of times if you ran to the bench, there was really nothing you could do. It was one of the really, strong things. You would cycle out your Pokemon. You would try not to give a point as long as you can. And now, that's just not the case. I mean, Hitmonlee knocks them if they go to the bench. Marshadow deals with them if they're in the active. Not a great spot to be in. That is going to be their game 2, and that is going to be the match here. Let me see if I can find us another game now. Let me quickly
Yeah, I
see.
wonder what we have left. I would hey, I'm open to anything here really, but man, very impressive showing by the Greninja and Far-Fetched Fighting Box deck. Definitely think that deck is going to be here to stay at least until we see hopefully the big giant set that we're all kind of anticipating.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what we have with that. I'm going to quickly see if we can find another game. Um, that seems to be a bit of a problem. Um, that one's finishing. We can see if we can find a Chekhov's game. They are in. Let's see, which matchup is what deck is Jacob and WTS? So it's a Substrika versus a Celebi Exeggutor. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, let's hop into it.
Okay, so that is going to be channel 12.
All right, heading on over.
Wait, it's actually 7. They're wrong.
Ursi, I don't know if you saw this. There's actually a legitimate mirror match with one of the Pikachu decks. It's the same 20 cards against the same 20 cards. Kind of funny.
Should we have? I just realized it was the wrong channel, but do we want to try to do that one instead?
Yeah. Let's see. What channel is that?
Which one is? Just quickly trying to find it. Same 20 versus same 20. Is that going to be, I guess, Prelux versus Random Ways?
Okay.
Let's see if I can. It looks like they're in. I'm just going to double check this time before I say a number. It looks like it's number 18. Let's do that.
18. We jumped in just in time.
Oh, they just finished their game too. Okay. Let's see if we can find another one. This is always the awkward part of top 32. It's like when everyone's just finishing up their games.
I wonder, that was at the end of the match. I didn't see the game score.
It looks like it was the end of it, and Random already had 1. So that was the end of their game, and Random is going to continue to our top 16. Let me quickly deafen them. But maybe this one? It looks like 10 and 23. Okay. Let me just quickly check. I don't know what matchup this is. Looks like it might be 2-5.
Let me see if I can find the matching name here, and I can tell you.
I think it might be.
Okay, it looks like it's Aerodactyl and Farfetch'd versus Aerodactyl and Primeape. So spicy matchup here.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah, this was a tough matchup to pick when I was going through the preview. It's 57% advantage to the Aerodactyl Primeape deck, and according to this tournament's data so far. But let me pull up these deck lists, and then we'll get going on this game here. Oh, by the way, yeah, the red card is also kind of spicy here.
Oh, one of them has red card. I'm always supportive of that. And we do have it up officially on stream as well. So they get to see it from that beginning card. But which one has red card? Ooh. So Andy is playing red card, and Duo is not.
Yep.
Very nice, very nice. Let's see. I think Duo's got a pretty good start here with that Mankey in the active spot, with that Marshadow on the bench. Meanwhile, Andy is only going to be having those 2 Hitmonlees down. He's only going to be able to hit the bench here. There is a target, but it's going to be at least 3 hits to KO that Marshadow.
Yeah, and by the way, for those of you who may not have seen these deck lists, not only are they playing red card, they're also playing the genetic Apex Aerodactyl. So instead of going with 2 Aerodactyl EX, they did a split 1-1. And so who knows, maybe we'll see an appearance of the OG, the Apex Aerodactyl. But outside of that, these decks have some interesting interactions because it does seem like the Mankey deck wants to evolve a little bit more. But hey, if you're flipping heads like that Mankey is, you're probably in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, that is true. As long as you can hit the heads, that's all you need to do. But that Hitmonlee is definitely a target. I wonder if we'll see Primeape that goes on and finishes it off. I definitely agree, though, that that other Aerodactyl is such an interesting addition to Andy Rue's list. I wonder if we'll see it played.
Oh, wow. We're going to have a first turn knockout here, aren't we?
Ooh. Straight to Giovanni?
So, yeah, I believe that's the left card. Yep. Okay, so here we go. Welp, if there's a Primeape in their hand, now that Primeape is a dead card for now. And this catches them off guard because there's no Marshadow ready to revenge KO. The one big curveball will be that Hitmonlee will be able to stretch kick past the Farfetch'd onto the bench.
Yeah, I think that saves Duo a little bit. I mean, we did commit that energy to Mankey knowing it could potentially be in range of that Giovanni, and as such, there was no energy on that Marshadow. Not, not the position you're going to be in, but this Hitmonlee is going to save that. It can't be KO'd by Farfetch'd. Not the worst.
Yeah, I love these decks that are just like, all right, let's just start knocking things out right away. I mean, there's been, what, 4 turns and 2 knockouts already?
Yeah, that's something. I love when it happens like that. That's one of the awesome things to me about the fighting decks is just how fast it can go. Though sometimes it can become a little stalemate in the mirror matches. So we'll have to see what happens. But looks like we're going to set up a second Marshadow here on the bench. I feel like you just...
By the way... I was just going to say, I'm sorry to cut you off right there, but I would probably rip the red card now, because if you don't rip the red card now, I mean, when are you going to use it?
I mean, I don't really know the fighting matchup well enough. I just know, so like I was a red card enjoyer when I played Charizard, and I felt like red card oftentimes for me, I saved it for like I KO with Charizard EX. And now my only vulnerability is if they go around my Charizard with a Sabrina and KO the other Charmander that I was protecting against Sabrina with earlier. So, like, is there a turn later in game where that matters in fighting boxes? I'm not really sure. I don't know the deck well enough to know if we're gonna have a turn like that.
Well, that was what I was actually trying to prevent, that Primeape.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm looking at this situation here, I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't know that I've seen them play any researches, which is something that I would like for them to do, before I play my red card here. But at this point, I mean, what are you really going to red card, right? You're not going to cut off the Primeape now. It's already hit the board. So I think red card now is essentially kind of a dead card. So it's kind of like a window to use it. And now that window is pretty much closed. Unfortunately, on the flip side, it could have just given them Professor's research anyways, and then they could have potentially drawn the Primeape as well. So, I mean, you're kind of in a no-win spot there, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's definitely an idea, right? That Primeape's probably on his hand. He seemed to really be going for it with that Mankey earlier in game. Primeape is definitely a card that you're definitely having to look out for early into this matchup. And yeah, I guess we don't have a spot now for that red card to potentially be saving us from, but we'll have to.
So looking at the line right now, I would probably, unfortunately, there's only one Giovanni in the player to our bottom, the bottom player. So you're not going to be able to put that Marshadow into range with a Hitmonlee and then Farfetch'd Giovanni to KO it. So that's kind of a weird spot. Pretty big potion there.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice potion to keep us safe here. And yeah, as you're saying, because we don't have a second Giovanni, I guess we don't see the retreat back, and we can just go on and prep the Marshadow, put that Primeape into range now, being KO'd next turn. Oh, but a second Giovanni is going to come down on Duo's side, and that's going to be 0.2 for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's checkmate. What's going to happen is this Marshadow is going to go into the active. It's going to knock out the Primeape, but then Marshadow is just going to trade and knock out the other Marshadow. So, yeah, that was a crucial Giovanni there. And again, like I just, looking back, I know hindsight is 2020, but it does make you wonder, did that red card, that window, would that have been anything that could have potentially delayed the Primeape from coming down and maybe giving you enough time to steal this game? But it's looking rough for our player on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I think it's exactly like you're saying. Yeah, we could have maybe delayed that Primeape. There's not really another Mon that can swing for 50 every single turn. And now we're kind of in a really bad situation for Andy Rue. Hmm.
By the way, I tried to peek into the chat a little bit. Does that Greninja fighting deck run water energy? No, it doesn't. It's going to be strictly fighting energy. And basically, the only way that you're attacking with anything in that Greninja line is the Frogadier. So, yeah, very, very important detail to know because I know some people may try that deck out on their own, but strictly only fighting energy.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. I'm excited to see. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, see if it made it into our top 16. Doesn't look. Wait, maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. Let me double check. No, that was the Articuno I was looking at. Did the Greninja make it? Let's see.
By the way, as I was kind of talking over the game, unfortunately, did you? There was a pivot there. They decided not to take the revenge KO.
Hmm.
So they're trying to take the long way. And unfortunately, yeah, I mean, now Hitmonlee knocks out the Marshadow when it retreats to the bench. So, I mean, unfortunately, just kind of like an unwinnable scenario here.
Yeah, it's definitely a bad spot. We did pivot that game plan, but it seems like it's still gonna be a checkmate for duo. Hmm. I'm just checking
Yeah, I agree with the chat, though, in terms of this mirror match being pretty interesting. I think that card choices and deck building probably decide this mirror match more than the actual in-play game, unless, somebody just blatantly throws. But I mean, when you take a look at this matchup, I can't say that I would really ever want the genetic Apex Aerodactyl as cool as it is. And, when you look at red card, I mean, I would 100% probably rather that be a Giovanni in this matchup. So I think that, probably deck building decisions probably decided this mirror match a little bit more than would have wanted. And now they're just ripping the red card just to pretty much rip it.
Yeah, I don't think there's really any reason for the red card play here. Uh, yeah, we just pass again. I'm not sure if there's even a way for Andy Rue to pull this game off, which is going to be a bit of a problem for him.
Yeah. Yeah, tough one there. Hopefully we get another game of this. I didn't take a look at the game count.
Let's see real quick. It does look like that's their last. Wait. Oh, it just hasn't. It looks like that's gonna be their last game. I'm gonna quickly cover up so nothing gets shown there. I think that their last top 32 as well.
Oh yeah,
So
we're on to the top 16.
that's going to be super, super exciting. I'm going to quickly bring up that metagame breakdown so that everybody can see our matches that are going to be played today while we try to find our next game.
So we've got some interesting matchups too as we get to it. The number 1 seed ended up moving on. So it was Exeggutor Celebi Superior versus Mewtwo Gardevoir. That was actually really a kind of an interesting matchup. 53% the advantage is to Mewtwo, but the number 1 seed was able to move on with Celebi.
Huh. Yeah, I would have thought that Mewtwo might have been able to win that matchup there, but obviously, I mean, Celebi can be very surprising with how many different coin flips you can get from how many different heads you can get from those coin flips. Let me just let everyone know they can start their top 16 matches now.
By the way, it's kind of funny. In top 16, we've got 2 matchups of Celebi Superior and Exeggutor versus Mewtwo Gardevoir. So that'll be a matchup that we see a couple of more times heading into top 16. So we'll see how that battle goes. Let's see what other matchups we've got here.
Is there one that you would like to see?
Oh, hey, I would love to see this Exeggutor Celebi Superior versus Mewtwo matchup. Looks like it might be a pretty even matchup.
That being seed 1 or which one? Or the
Yeah, we could check out seed 1, and then I believe the 8 seed and the 9 seed are also in the same matchup. So
okay, perfect. It is going to be in channel 1. It looks like here though they do need to start up their stream.
I'm making sure that I update my bracket, trying to see what how accurate I was in my predictions.
Here. Let's hop up to channel 1.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
How is your bracket looking though? Have you predicted it thus far?
Okay, so I'm tallying it up right now, and I'm not gonna lie to you. If Mewtwo's gonna win this tournament, it may hinge on this Celebi matchup. So we'll see. I mean, the pressure's on Mewtwo. Come on, what's going on here?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I wonder what is happening because predominantly they have a. I'm gonna definitely real quick. A pretty good matchup into Celebi, I thought. You one hit KO Celebi. My voice just left me for some reason. Um,
You need some more Starbucks.
yeah,
Just get some more Starbucks. No problem.
yeah, that's my bad. But what's happening? Obviously, the Celebi is flipping the heads it needs, but in this deck there is Exeggutor EX, right? For Bolo's list.
Yes.
And which does get to add with that additive damage. I just find it so much more consistent than only relying on the multiplicative 50x damage for each heads that Celebi has. What do you think of the addition of Exeggutor here?
I mean, I'm partial to Exeggutor because that's my favorite egg. When I played Venusaur and Exeggutor, it was just so important to draw Exeggutor, and that's really the key to that deck. The earlier you find Exeggutor, I
Mm-hmm.
believe the higher the win percentage is for the deck, and that could be against any matchup in the entire game, even those fire matchups. But here we go. It looks like we've got a Mew versus Celebi standoff to start the game. And you do see an Exeggutor could potentially be a little bit of a game changer if they're able to find and execute.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Getting that Executor out early, even with Venusaur, like you were saying, I feel like really helped being able to tank behind the big egg. Um, and in this case, Celebi wants to do something very similar, get their support card, that superior setup, get energies added and added and added to the Celebi as long as they can. So we'll see if they're able to find it this game because they're definitely looking for it.
I mean, it's just such a nice strategy with good synergy. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
the Mewtwo player is bringing a red card. So red card is on the table. There's one potion, and then there's one Sabrina. So those are some things to kind of keep an eye on as we cycle through this match. And then when it comes to the grass player, they're playing two of every Pokemon, and then one X speed, one leaf. So they do have that pivot potential. But looking like Curlia coming down is already signaling the pressure may be on.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, we could see Gardevoir just next turn. But it looks like even if that's I kind of think because they did the energy to Mewtwo, they may not have Gardevoir. Because if they did
Yeah,
it to Mew EX and Gardevoir comes down next turn, Mew EX can swing next turn, but Mewtwo can't. So,
I mean that you might exactly be making the right judgment there. I mean, the other thing that I could think of honestly is that I want to let Mew be a damage sponge right
mm-hmm.
here and just absorb this damage and then just pivot it out of the active, put in Mewtwo, and then start knocking things out.
For sure, not what the Mewtwo player wanted there. Two heads.
Yeah, I mean,
Ouch.
hey, Mew's doing a great job taking it like a champ. I
True.
mean,
Oh, Gardevoir does come down. Huh.
Yep. So here's the Gardevoir. And again, like the big notable thing here is the Celebi player is forced to go into Celebi to start off attacking,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no Exeggutor to kind of start that early pressure. Now, peeking into the future here, if Superior comes down on curve, the Mewtwo might be in trouble. But it looks like they're going to put 20 damage on the Celebi right now and try to save the Mewtwo so it doesn't even get put in the position where it can be one shot by the Celebi. So personally, I think this is really good play by the Mewtwo player. Very good patience.
Yeah, I agree. It takes a lot of patience and self control not to just immediately retreat back to your Mewtwo EX. But this Celebi could be swinging for 6 different coin flips. And it looks like we're just going to go in and power up our second Celebi, though. Um,
Yeah, this Celebi player is doing a great job of not putting all their eggs in one basket, pun intended. When you look at the way that this game is turning out, this Mewtwo EX is going to be asked to get 2 knockouts, and again with no Sabrina. That's something that I should probably bring up with the grass deck. There's no Sabrina, so the Psychic player probably knows that and is basically saying, "Hey, once this Mewtwo goes in the active, hopefully I can get it to sweep the 2 prizes that I need." But that Exeggutor EX is going to definitely have something to say about that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we don't have Giovanni either in Fireon's list, meaning if Exeggutor EX can come down, it's going to survive at least 1 hit from that Mewtwo as well.
Yeah, they're going to need Sabrina. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter is Sabrina is going to need to be in the player's hand, and hey, the chance is actually pretty high. Looking at the number of cards in their hand, I mean, they have a giant hand right now, 6 cards or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. I don't know how many exact cards they've drawn, but we're seeing at least, what, 9, 10, 11 cards just between that discard, the Gardevoir, the Mewtwo. We're pretty far into that deck looking for that Sabrina.
I'm honestly surprised here.
Same.
I figured that the Mewtwo player, or excuse me, the grass player would pivot into the Exeggutor EX and, just say, "Hey, I'm going to make you have the Sabrina." Instead, they went for the play where it was just, "Hey, let me get this knockout and clinch the game," but they whiffed.
Yeah, no, that's a very sad whiff. Definitely, we're pushing for a little bit above odds, but uh, it looks like we're going to go on and get our last 2 points for Fireon, and it's going to close out their game 1 of the top 6.
Hey, great example of patience there by the Mewtwo player, letting the Mew absorb all that damage. And hey, I'm a big proponent of Jinx, but right now, that Mew EX was able to tank 100 points of damage, and eventually, take one for the team. So I definitely think that Jinx and Mew are probably ideal in the deck for Mewtwo and Gardevoir. But in that particular case, Jinx would have not been able to do what Mew EX just did.
Yeah, Jinx would have been KO'd right then and there. We'll have to see what they do. Are you saying you think both are the one, or do you think one or the other would be good
I
for
think
this
both.
deck?
I mean, I think you just kind of have to make room for it, unfortunately. And that's one of the big issues with the Mewtwo and Gardevoir list right now. There's so many good cards, and you just kind of have to figure out which ones you're going to cut. You may have to cut one X speed or one leaf. You may have to cut a Giovanni or a blue, but I do think that in the ideal list, I think you're bringing Jinx because it does address a lot of those fighting decks as well.
Yeah, it's very, very, very true. I mean, it's able to do so much, especially with Giovanni into some of those different fighting decks. Uh, it does look like we're going to be starting Snivy this time for Bolo, as well as Ralts for Firion. They do find their Mewtwo, but if Ralts stays in the active, it's not going to tank as well as Mew EX, just like you pointed out with that Jinx.
Yeah, and hey, pretty good opener for both players here in terms of drawing cards. The grass player is probably, yep, that's a great card to draw. So yeah, the grass player here able to find a really good card right now. And you know what? This is going to be a very important coin flip, probably coming up next turn. But yeah, for right now, um, yeah, I think I agree with what's being done. You may be able to retreat next turn, and if you can find the Exeggutor, drop it down on the field. Let's see if Curlia comes down.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really important, especially since we're going second, I believe, here. If we can hit that on curve and get some type of free retreat back, that Mewtwo could be swinging as soon as, or for 150 as soon as that Gardevoir appears.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly why Mewtwo is just one of the best decks in the game right now. You see a slab, you see double research, you see Pokeballs. I mean, they have thinned their deck. They've drawn from their deck. If they don't have a Curlia, I mean, it's just strictly due to being, unlucky, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But right now, yeah, this is just a very solid opener for the Mewtwo deck. despite the fact that it seems like they don't have the Kirlia.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to go on and protect that Ralts. We don't want any chance where that Servine or an Exeggutor next turn could KO that Ralts and potentially put us even further behind on getting that Kirlia and Gardevoir going.
So the game is it's definitely going back and forth. There's some good footsies here. You notice the Mewtwo player not bringing in their Mewtwo, so that way it's going to save damage from being put on it. And it looks like they're going to just try to slowly build up their Mewtwo on the bench and hopefully find Kirlia. However, this Exeggutor is going to start putting pressure immediately, and if the grass player finds Celebi, this game could really turn.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, there's still a lot of things to happen, but oh, Kirlia comes down back into Fireon's court. Another Execute.
Right there, I don't know that I would have minded putting in energy on the active Mewtwo, because I could have potentially maybe saved myself a pivot card when I retreat. Okay, so there's a heads. By the way, no Celebi, but and this may be better. By the way, playing that Snivy might have been a little bit of an early decision, because now if you draw Celebi, it may not get a chance to even be played.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, Leaf is going to come down, but where does Celebi go if it appears this turn? It's not like Exeggutor can get KO'd, and so there's just not going to be a spot for it.
So this Exeggutor is about to get hit for 150. Is this Mewtwo player flipping the script? Is that what? Oh no! And the Pokeball top deck that would have found the Celebi.
Yeah, it was a sure to Celebi at this point, so that's not a great feeling. Pretty Celebi, at least. Pretty Celebi.
I mean, you're going to need to flip some heads if you're the Exeggutor player. Like that's going to be what it comes down to. You're going to need probably multiple coin flips in your favor that are heads, and they're going to be single coin flips. It's not going to be like Celebi where you're flipping 7.
100% agree. We need like heads, essentially. Because we're not sacrificing a Pokemon here. So Exeggutor needs to land the heads, and then it needs to do it again. And then I guess we could see a Servine KO the second Mewtwo.
Oh no. Yeah, man, I can't believe this Mewtwo player has turned this around, and I think that the decision to fill the Snivy down on the bench might have been one of the game turning points. You could make the argument that, hey, I could have leafed into a Celebi EX with maybe 4 coin flips.
Yeah,
now,
that's very true.
Now this is a rough spot, even with no Giovanni in sight for the Mewtwo player.
Yeah, and that was the only Leaf that Bolo is playing. They have an X-Speed, and so they could Energy X-Speed potentially if they can find it, but a second out Celebi was just to rub salt in the wound, Mr. Pokemon. You did not need to do that to Bolo this turn. But yeah, he can't get his Exeggutor out. I don't know really what he's supposed to do, and he probably can't get the next Exeggutor out either, even if Celebi comes down.
Well, they do have the grass energies will count for 2.
Oh,
so you could technically still put an energy on either the bench Exeggutor or the bench Snivy. But you're kind of dead in the water to Sabrina. I mean, it's just going to be Sabrina's world.
Very true. Yeah, I always forget it for retreat costs. That Superior works that way. I always remember it for attacks, but never for the retreat. Let's see here. We get him down to 30. The other Mewtwo can't be set up for 150 swing, but it also doesn't need it. I kind of wonder if the play might have been to put the energy on Superior. Hear me out. They KO the Mewtwo. Not Mewtwo, the Exeggutor. Superior can KO this Mewtwo, but the other Mewtwo can only do 50. And
Well, you only need to deal 10 damage to this Exeggutor, right? Like that. I think that's the only issue.
I mean, I guess that is true. Or 30, but yeah, you can't evolve into Servine here. And it just feels like Snivy is in range, right, of potentially getting like KO'd shortly by a Giovanni, not Giovanni, but the Gardevoir. But maybe Snivy's all we need here.
Well, I think that this game is just going to be Sabrina, and it's just going to be kind of
And
yeah. I don't the Mewtwo player is going to have to try to lose this game the way that it's looking.
yeah, that is very true at this point.
I mean, and again, like you just go back to the researches, the Pokeball, the slab. I mean, that's just one of the reasons why this deck is just so good. And
Wow.
granted, there's definitely going to be some extra time that they're going to get to build something up here. But being on 0 points, they're probably just going to let this Mew be a damage sponge here and then just slowly get to, Mewtwo being able to be the finisher.
Yeah, I mean, I think Celebi was like done for either way, but I'm not fully sure about the Celebi coming into the active spot. But I agree. Yeah, this Mew's just gonna be soaking up damage and that until that Mewtwo comes up to swing and KO.
Man, I think that this game does a great job of highlighting the importance of not being in a rush to bench things because
Mm-hmm.
I guess the biggest fear that you would have is that, hey, if I don't put down this Snivy, they could Sabrina my superior. But honestly, that would have been fine because you would have just attached an energy and retreated anyways. So yeah, I mean that early decision ends up kind of echoing throughout the rest of the game. And now Sabrina is just threatening the game to.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I would have just saved the Sabrina. It's not like I don't think you can win the game with this Sabrina. Whereas if you hold it, you can. So interesting decision.
Yeah, especially with where they were set up at. Oh.
I mean, you just put an energy on the bench Mewtwo, you hold the Sabrina, and then you pivot it in and win the game. So kind of surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ultimately, I guess it doesn't matter. But still, it's one of those things that if you give your opponent a window, sometimes it can definitely punish you. So
Yeah. Very true as well. And it seems like okay, so we are Mew swinging.
yeah, but like we said,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely Mewtwo's game to lose here.
Agreed. Yeah, no, it's just Mewtwo's game to lose. We could just retreat back next turn. The Mew EX doesn't really get KO'd in any sort of way. There's not too much to for Farion to worry about.
So it looks like the Mewtwo chances to win are still going to be alive after this match. We'll have to check and see what the bracket's looking like for the other matchups. But yeah, I mean, hey, this game was both of these games were very close. I think these players did a great job making it this far in the tournament, and that's something to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to play perfect every single game, so I wouldn't want to throw anybody under the bus. But hopefully, it's one of those situations where you can learn from this and say, hey, and the next time that I'm playing, I need to be a little bit more conscious of putting things on my bench when I don't necessarily need to.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with that. Uh, it's something to watch for, and it's that huge balance of like, what do I not want to potentially have? Isn't Farion running red card in this? Am I thinking about a different game that we just watched? Yeah, he's also running red card. So there's always even that question of like, what if my other one gets knocked out? Maybe I do need Snivy already on the bench, but at the same time, like now I have no spot for that Celebi, and balancing between what am I afraid of with Sabrina, what am I afraid of with a red card, didn't end well here for Bolo trying to balance that, but was a great game to watch. It is actually in that top 8 from here. It's going to be a mirror match between two Mewtwo EXs in top 8.
Oh
Um,
no, the Mewtwo's are moving on. All right, so let's see. What other game do you think we can jump into? Let me take a look at the bracket with
let's
you.
see here. I will. We have the Greninja did not make it, by the way, out of top 16. Um, but we do have, I think it's the Gyarados player going against a Zebstrika on the bottom, Zebstrika is up a game. We have a Fighting Box versus a Gyarados, 2 from the bottom between Twintail and God Dragon. Then we have a Fighting Box versus a Zebstrika, 1 above that. Do you have preference between any of those?
What about the I think you said Gyarados against Fighting?
Yes, there is one. Let me quickly check to see what chat they're in. Do you have preference on point of view? Oh, that one just ended.
Oh no. Okay, well, hey, let's go to the next one then.
Let's see.
I'm hitting refresh to see if there's any update.
They just got game 2 finished in the Zebstrika versus Fighting Box, and it's 1-1. So we could go into that because we know they'll be just starting game 3.
Okay, is that let's see, is that Arrow? Is that Arrow? So Twintail versus.
I think this is Zelos versus Duo.
Okay, Zelos versus Duo.
And we can see Zelos' point of view in channel 12. So,
all right, let's hop to it. You got the spicy game sound.
Yeah, we do have the spicy game sound for this one.
Here, I guess I can. I think I can. Can I mute that? I don't even know if I can mute that.
Yeah, you can mute it in Discord.
Okay, can I still hear you? I just turned the stream volume down.
Yeah, you should still be able to hear me.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay.
I assume at least.
Okay, so this is Zelos. Let me pull up these deck lists.
And we have it live on stream as well now for our top 16. Here.
Okay.
So we are getting to start with Zapdos this game in the active spot. Kind of a tanky boy to start with, and he can potentially be swinging for 20 next turn. Meanwhile, Duo is starting with that Marshadow, who really isn't who you want to begin with. Takes 2 energies to power up, only can swing for 40 if one of his mons did not get KO'd that turn before. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but Duo's definitely going to be looking for some different Pokemon. They are running Aerodactyl EX, a second Marshadow, 1 Hitmonlee, and a 2/2 of that Primeape.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people give Zapdos a lot of flack, but you can't deny that opening Zapdos in this matchup kind of feels nice.
Yeah, I feel like one of the better ones for opening into this matchup. I'm just quickly checking out that Pikachu list now too. It is obviously that 2/2 Zebstrika we talked about, and 1 Dedenne and 2 Pikachu EXs. So we still are going to want to fill up our bench, but if we're going to attack with Zapdos, we don't need to be too hasty on who to choose to put on our bench either. Oh, sad. We hit Tails.
Yep, that's a pretty tough Tails to hit. Now, this is going to be where decision making is really important for the Pikachu player. You're going to have the option to attach an energy to the Zapdos and then start building up the Pikachu. And personally, in my experience, I think that that's the route that I would go. That way you can immediately start pressuring with the Zapdos, and the Pikachu is still able to come in and do its thing when it's needed. Now, as I say all of that, the Pikachu player says, MBB, you're an idiot. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, he does decide to put that energy on Pikachu. I'm kind of surprised. I thought we would see that first energy attached to Zapdos, just like you. We'd see that early 20 damage, and then we can just slowly power up Pikachu on the bench.
Yeah, and my whole line of thinking with doing that is that, hey, I'm gonna be able to pivot out of the active and still deal damage, and so there's really, I don't need to rush anything necessarily. So for me, that would have been the decision that I would have gone with, but it seems like they're just gonna Sabrina, and looks like they're gonna put this fighting deck in a little bit of a bind.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh wow, I don't
I mean, I don't know if there's any reason to peck here, but I guess there's no really where else to put energy. Duo's gonna have to discard or either evolve here. You cannot retreat with the old Amber.
Now, it is worth noting that Pikachu is on 2 Sabrinas, so it's okay to go ahead and, I don't want to say waste one, but it is okay to just fire one off early.
That is true.
But
Primate?
I don't know that I would have done any of that. Now, your Primeape is going to put this Zapdos in range of Marshadow, revenge knocking it out, and you're still, and they happen to have another fossil, so now Aerodactyl EX is looming in the background. Looks like the fighting deck is really making a push to take control of this game. Honestly, I don't know that the potion matters right now, because you could make the argument that you could save the potion because the Zapdos just, it might not even make it. Like, it's going to get hit for 100 either way.
No, I do agree. I don't really think that does anything. Maybe it forces them not to bring out Aerodactyl. But other than that, I am not sure what the potion really is there for in this case.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at alternate plays, the Zebstrika going into the active and then putting pressure on the Marshadow, I mean, I don't think that that accomplishes anything because the Primeape is just going to put it on a clock.
Yeah.
This is looking like the fighting deck. It's in their, the ball's in their court to lose this game is what it seems like here.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a bad spot here, Pikachu player, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. And the type advantage is not what the Pikachu is going to be happy with either here.
Yeah, no blue. And hey, there has been some Pikachu decks that are playing blue, and they're using blue in scenarios where it could protect them from being one-shot by an Arcanine or by a Marshadow, but with no blue in this deck list, and your Zapdos already having, 90 damage on it or 80 damage on it, I mean, you're just in a rough spot.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. This seems like a really rough spot to be. We can't put up Pikachu, gets KO'd by the Marshadow. We're going to coin flip for it. Okay.
Man, wouldn't you love to save those flips?
For Aerodactyl, yeah. I mean, we got 4 heads. Feels good. Doesn't need it, though, right now. And Marshadow's just going to return KO and take 2 points this next turn.
Yeah, and they probably put in the Aerodactyl just so that way they can have the Marshadow lined up for the Pikachu and disregard all of that. They must have another Primeape.
Yeah, that's going to be Primeape, yeah. And that's going to be 2 points here. Don't even need to use that Marshadow just yet, because Marshadow can deal with anybody on this board.
Yeah, so I think that's probably the reason why you want to save the Marshadow. Even if, like, you didn't have the Primeape, you probably just go into Aerodactyl. You already have an energy on it. You attach it to the Aerodactyl, you knock out the Zapdos, and then, you put everything on a 1 to 2 turn clock there. But like I said, I mean, yeah, it's just a rough spot to be in, and hopefully... what's the game score in this match? Let me check.
We are 1 and about to be 2, and they're 1-1 in the match. As in the series. My bad.
Oh man, yeah, this might be a clinching. And by the way, I believe this is our last match of the top 16.
And then we'll get to go to top 8. Let's go.
Yep.
My bang is like doing the worst thing right now. Oh my. Just like flopping into the center of my forehead. But we're gonna have to Dene. I'm always happy to see one of these paralyzed coin flips come down, but Duo is at 2 points, meaning in some world where we hit heads for the next 8 turns, it still doesn't matter.
Hey, listen, I just gotta flip 17 heads in a row. No big deal.
No big deal.
I'll get a tie.
Oh, well, I guess now with Marshadow in the active, all we need is 7, and then Pikachu takes us home. So, I guess we could just go with Pikachu. I didn't even think about that, actually. Pikachu takes out Marshadow. Aerodactyl can't take out Pikachu. Do we have a second? We used our second Sabrina early, though, didn't we? Or am I thinking the wrong game? So now we can't do a second Sabrina. And Aerodactyl's gonna... Now we go for the Dene, I guess. We just go for Dene now.
I'm confused as to why the Marshadow went into the active and not the Aerodactyl.
Actually, yeah, I'm confused too. I don't really get that. Very good point. Very good point.
You know, you just put in the Aerodactyl, and like you're really in a position where you
Just take it, press the game.
I mean, yeah, you have to try to lose. I think we just kind of witnessed a little bit of an oopsie.
Yeah, a bit of a misplay. I mean, we do have Hitmonlee in list, so I don't think Hitmonlee got KO'd early, so we're pretty far in deck. Probably a good chance we found the Hitmonlee. This is where we should have saved our potion for, though, I feel like. We're only running one potion, to be fair. Wouldn't have really done that, but it's time for the Dedenne, and then it's going to be a Zapdos Peck, and then we can see Pikachu, maybe. Well, 3 Dedennes, a Zapdos Peck, and then Pikachu.
If this Dedenne flips heads, there's problems.
Oh, yeah, because we're weak to electric. I forgot about that. But it's Tails.
I mean, they literally, the fighting player gave them the only winning line.
Yeah.
And they flipped tails. I mean, that's essentially what just happened.
They did, yeah. That was an ouch. Big misplay there. But that being said, harder to play the game.
I'm checking out chat right now, and yeah, watching chat. Yeah, I kind of agree with a lot of what chat is kind of saying here. It definitely seems like, you know, that was definitely the fighting player had to let the Pikachu player back into the game if they're going to have any chance of losing, and that was a close one. I mean, you're a coin flip away from losing that spot in the top 8. But hey, congrats to both players again. Great tournament run, and one of them gets to move on to top 8.
Let's see. Let me announce that everyone can start their top 8 now. I'll pop up that metagame so that people can see the different matchups. And we should probably take a look at what these different matchups are going to be as well here. Your Mewtwo's, the last 2 Mewtwo's are fighting it out. As is my last Charizard. As is my last Charizard.
No.
I don't know who to root for there.
I mean, I gotta update my bracket. These games are happening so fast. It's like it's too fast for me to update my brackets. All right, hold on.
Oh no.
Let's see. So did I update this one?
But yeah, so we have a number of interesting matchups right now. We're going to see another duo against another Pikachu here. He'll have that type advantage in a lot of those cases other than Aerodactyl, as we saw. We also do still have a Gyarados in the tournament, this time going against another Zebstrika who went against Gyarados last turn as well, so he knows exactly the game plan there. Tricob, who made second last week, is going to be playing against Jamako with a Charizard EX and Moltres. And then we also have those 2 Mewtwo's, the last 2 Mewtwo's in our top 8. And then obviously, Pikachu is, what, 3 of our top 8 here?
Yeah, that's, wow.
Do you have preference of what we watch here today for our top
8?
Hey,
you want to head into the Charizard slash Moltres versus Pikachu? I believe it's is that Trucob and Jamako?
Perfect. Do you have preference on which point of view we watch?
Let's watch from Trucob. I can see him in table 7.
Okay, let's go to table 7 then.
All right.
Okay.
Uh-oh, got the game music again. Here we go.
I have them muted already because I've streamed them a couple of times. So I am safe from the loud music, but I'll try to turn it a little bit up for chat. Okay, so we're going to be watching from that Pikachu position this game. Looks like Pikachu does not having the worst start. We're having got Dedenne in the active spot, that Pikachu on the bench, and on the side of Jamako, they actually are starting with 2 Moltreses and a Charmander, exactly what they want, honestly, because otherwise we could see Sabrina that pulled out that Charmander.
Yeah, and this is one of those classic limitless, you know, has a weird time kind of categorizing these decks. Because I think Jamaco is on a I think they're on a 1-1 line with Arcanine and Growlithe. Yeah, that's the case.
Yeah.
And then there's also a Mew EX, which,
Hmm.
in my opinion, for this particular matchup, is not the greatest card to have.
No, I agree. I feel like the worst matchup for running Mew EX is Pikachu because it just cannot use Pikachu's attack, which is more than likely what's going to be in that active spot. Unless, of course, Jamaco also has some electric Pokemon in his sleeve that we didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, best case, you're copying a Zapdos attack, right? And you're just saying, hey, let me flip 4 coins. And, probably in most scenarios need, 2 or 3 heads. But yeah, I think, Mew EX might be one of those cards that you wish was something different in this matchup. There
Mm-hmm.
is a potion in this. I'll be honest. I do think it's what you call Zarkanine. I do think it kind of is a Zarkanine deck. It just happens to play one Growlithe, one Arcanine, as opposed to the 2-and-2 or 1-and-2 lineup.
Yeah, still definitely a little bit of that. I'm always interested to see when they add in these Mew EXs. I'm not like fully sure where we use Mew EX. Obviously, you can't use that Moltres energy. Charizard basically needs every single energy that you want to give it. And it does KO everything. So, what does that mean for a Mew EX in this position? I'm not fully sure, but I'm hoping we'll get to see a masterclass from Jamaco running their Arcanine. Um, Arcanine.
By the way, no red cards in either deck list, so these players can be greedy. The Pikachu player can withhold their electric types in their hand and then surprise. But Dedenne is going to be putting in work against this Moltres because that paralysis could cause the Moltres to get one less turn to flip coins. I mean, there's a scenario where this is the last turn that Moltres gets to flip any coins, and now the Arcazard player is kind of stranded, only being able to attach one energy per turn. However, 2 heads on that coin flip, it may not matter.
Yeah, I mean, that Charmander is already basically powered up, but you're completely right there with that because Jamaco's not running red card. Pikachu can pick and choose. They don't need to have to make a decision similar to putting that Snivy down too early. If they think they need 2 Pikachus, they can wait for the 2 Pikachus. If they think they need a Blitzel, they can wait for the Blitzel until obviously Pikachu needs to come in and start swinging. And that's honestly going to be could be as early as next turn since the Dedenne can actually get to do 30 here with the type advantage into Moltres. Very surprising for a lot of players when they're first getting in to Pokemon Pocket, but Moltres is weak to electric.
By the way, how crucial was that potion? If that potion didn't come down, we would see an X speed into Pikachu EX into a knockout on this Moltres.
Very
So that
true.
potion already really paying off. Let's see this Dedenne coin flip. Dedenne unfortunately flipping tails. We haven't seen any heads by this Dedenne. I feel bad for the Dedenne fans in the chat.
For sure. I feel like last tournament, the Dedenne got every single heads it tried for. It won a couple of the series for sure, and now Dedenne's just not showing up this match. We do
Yeah,
get
I mean,
Charmeleon.
you gotta flip heads eventually, Dedenne. It's gotta happen. Discount Pikachu. Where you at?
For sure. Yeah, and the Mew EX is going to come down too. Interesting. Good
Yeah.
Charmeleon.
The Mew EX might do a great job absorbing some damage. If they eventually have to pivot out of this Moltres. But now, let's see. There's no Charmeleon, right? Is there a Charmeleon? Hold on, it's covered up. Let's see. Good coin flips. Okay, so there is a Charmeleon. So the Pikachu player can't just bum rush this Moltres EX. It's probably just got to leave that Dedenne in there, unfortunately, and probably start looking at powering up Zapdos. I think this energy probably goes to Zapdos, so that way you're one turn away from attacking with either Zapdos or Pikachu EX. If they put that Charizard EX into the active, maybe Zapdos can save the day with 4 heads. But yeah, this is looking like Arcazard is slightly fighting to take the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, if the Pikachu came in now, there is a threat that you just have that Charizard next turn. And I think that's how we're slowly building up this Zapdos. Let me make this video be where it shows the energies. That's my bad, guys. So, oh, That is just going to be another 30 into that Moltres, and still no paralysis to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, if Dedenne would have got one heads at any point, it could have definitely changed the momentum of this game. Now that
Completely.
we're seeing this situation, it looks like Zebstrika might be a key draw. I could see a scenario where Zebstrika is able to put 30 damage on that Charizard, knock it down to 150, and now Zapdos only needs 3 heads. So that's a line that I could see in the very near future. And also, that would open up the opportunity for a 1-1-2 prize lineup. So, the Pikachu player would be making that Charizard work for its KOs.
Yeah, no, completely. And I was trying to do the math there. If we find Zebstrika, does that change how many attacks Charizard can do? Because obviously you can't do that 200 damage you have to do the 200 damage into Zebstrika. But I think with 6 energies on Charizard, sadly, it's not really going to matter there. So then it's just going to come down to how much damage can we put into that Charizard.
Yeah, because they probably have a pivot card in their hand too. I mean, looking at this Charizard list, let's just double check. Yeah, double X speed and a leaf. Yeah, and there's the X speed. So yeah, this Charizard, it's going to be crucial to draw. Well, actually, I take that back. You don't even need the Zebstrika. You can just Giovanni at any point, and hopefully win the game. Okay, so the Pikachu player is just saying, "Screw it, let's just do this right now. Let's
I'm
just
almost
get to the coin
surprised by
flips."
that. I mean, just as you were saying, because like we want the highest chance possible, I assume, to be able to KO that Charizard, but I guess it's game 1. You can take a risk in game 1 and still come back game 2 and 3 as well. So let's see if we'll get
and hey, I mean, like that's definitely fair to kind of take that approach. For me, as long as I have a spot in the tournament, I want to make my opponent work as hard as possible. And so, yeah, they end up doing what we were just discussing and retreating and putting in the Zebstrika. So, that I think that's definitely the correct line. Because now, again, you only need 3 heads. There's no more potions left for the Charizard player. So it's going to come down to Zapdos hopefully carrying. But I think you got to put yourself in the best position to win, no matter what game it is, no matter what round it is. And I think that play definitely demonstrates doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And especially since we had X speeds, we could just go ahead and put up that Zapdos. If we don't hit Zebstrika, that's okay. And if we do, we can always retreat back. So I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, we see the line for the Pikachu player. It's going to take a little bit of luck, but unfortunately, the way this game played out, I think that's their best chance. So here we go. They're making them work for these knockouts. So 1-1-2 is going to be the potential prizes right here. Some coin flips. Let's go. Hey, they've been flipping tails all game with these Dedennes. So again, RNG, come on, come back to us. Come back to us one time.
Yeah, we've been storing the heads for this moment. So
I can think of the player that just flipped 4 heads and they only needed like 1 or whatever.
Yeah, into the not Marshadow, into the Primeape. Oh no. Let's see.
I wonder if they have any like ritual right before they flip these coins.
Giovanni as well.
Oh yeah, just use all the gas.
He's not gonna survive next turn, so why not? I mean, if he doesn't make it, so why not?
I mean, the sad part is that there is a world where wasting that Giovanni matters. That's the sad part.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Oh, 4 tails as well. That's just like salt into the wound. Ouch, Mr. Pokemon.
Oh my god, that's so funny that's what you said. That's the first thing that popped in my head. I said, man, salt in the wound. That's what was going on in my head.
Oh no, and that is gonna be more than likely game 1 here for Jamako. Yeah,
tough break. I mean, I think that player just flipped 7 tails in a row.
Yeah, I think they did as well. I don't know how the odds are of that, but ouch, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, and like, I think this is a very important thing for people that play in tournaments too, and it's something that is very hard to overcome. You have to figure out a way to wipe what just happened and play the next game. You can't dwell on the fact that RNG just went completely against you. You've got to say, all right, hey, I got to wipe it. I got to go into game 2, and the next play is the most important play, you know?
Yeah, very true. And Schwab is definitely a seasoned player. They've made it into our top 32 at least 2 other times, I think 3 other times. So they know how to leave game 1 at the door and take game 2 as a new day. I think I mixed together 2 different sayings with that statement, but he's gonna hopefully start this anew and not even thinking about game 1.
Yeah, and like that's so important. And even as like a player who's played trading card games for over 20 years, like that's still something that I have to deal with when I play in tournaments. Because what you don't want to happen is you don't want that play to snowball
Mm-hmm.
into another potential misplay or another, oh man, I was completely thinking about something else and dwelling on that. And now I just, missed one of my outs. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely something to think about for players at all levels. And as we go into game 2, this Zapdos is starting off putting 20 damage on that Mew EX, and then they're
Mm-hmm.
withholding Pokeball as well, choosing not to fire that off. I guess the audience may not be able to see that.
Yeah, we are hiding hand, but that being said, I think that's sometimes a smart play for Pikachu. It increases the chance that you are gonna could hit a basic off the top of your deck, and that Pokeball will always get you a basic. So when you can tilt the odds in your favor, always a good thing to do.
Yeah, with no red card, I mean, it's like, hey, okay, let's be patient.
Exactly. Yep, and
Yeah,
we get a
and
Pikachu. He is.
yep, delivers
It did
right on cue.
deliver. Let's see. Okay, so we now get to power up that Pikachu as well. I mean, it's not like we're going to attack with Pikachu anytime soon, so maybe it's still a play to hold the Pokeball even longer. Uh, it just doesn't
Yeah,
really
I mean, the only
matter.
reason why you would want to fire it off right now is to get Zeb or Blitzel, so
Mm-hmm.
that way Zeb Striker can come down and potentially put some damage that might be important later on that Charmander. But with no X speed in hand, it's not like you're necessarily going to be rushing to do it right away. So
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. So we'll see what they decide to do here. Because we can still even keep, it's not like even like we're going to lose out on energy in any way. Zapdos can still get a second energy on it without any problem, even a third for a retreat later. It's not like we need to power anyone else up.
and by the way that the Charizard player is attaching energy, it seems very safe to say that Arcanine is not in their hand. Otherwise, they would be putting energy on that Growlithe.
Yeah.
They're currently 2 for 6 in coin flips this game. So still, better than 0 for 6.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. Better than 0 than 6, but I'm sure there's like some world where it's like, what if the Dene appears next turn? Um, let's see.
Well, they got another body there, which might be good.
I will say just for chat, I think a lot of competitive players do leave up supporter because there's always the chance that when you're like, nervous tapping on your screen that you just in turn. Uh, and it's at least a way to avoid that or things like that. Because we've definitely seen it happen in the entire game uh, and lose them their spot in the tournament because of how the series, continued out. So for some competitive players, they do decide to leave up that, supporter or energy warning.
Yeah, I definitely leave them up. And I've had times where I'm like forgetting to attach an energy, and I'm like, oh, thank goodness for that warning.
I turn mine off, but I do like basically ADHD clicking, and I have ended turns so many times without even looking. But like, I just don't like. I'm like, if I did it, I did it. But no, so I don't know. I'm a little bit of the hasty person, but in the top 32, I would turn it back on for sure.
I would be lying if I said that I didn't immediately just turbo click and skip past it anyways, at least once.
True.
So, this is a situation where finding Arcanine would be huge. Not having a Charmeleon so far is definitely putting a lot of pressure Sabrina having, access to Sabrina if you're the Pikachu player might spell the end of this game. And even if you don't, you honestly don't even need it. You can just put 90 damage on this Mew and
Mm-hmm.
then switch in the Zebstrika and finish it off. So really, you're in no rush to do anything. You can just, kind of autopilot the rest of this game.
Yeah, this does not seem like a great spot to be for Jamako this game because Zebstrika is already on the bench. The threat is there. Chakab is ready to retreat at any moment. No questions asked.
Yeah. Yeah, just finding key evolutions a little bit too late. Pikachu did Pikachu things as the game started progressing,
Mm-hmm.
and unless something very strange happens, I believe we will be seeing the all-important Game 3.
Yeah. Always both very fun and very nerve wracking when we go to a game three. Uh, Everything is on the line at that point, so don't
Yeah, and
think
hey,
it's a
if
play.
I believe so.
I mean, maybe Arcanine could come. Well, even then, you just put Substrike up next turn. So I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, even Potion doesn't put you out of range here. There's no Budding Expeditioner. I
Oh,
mean, this game is, we're just kind of, we're just, having, yeah, yeah. So there's the concede.
yep. And we're gonna see them go into their game three. I will let them get set up here. Um, okay. What are some things we should be on the lookout for then going into our game three here between Jamako and Jacob?
Honestly, the first thing to look for is who goes second. I mean, whoever
True
goes
or false?
second is probably going to be very happy about that.
Yeah, that's very true. I do think. Wait, game one, who went first? I think it was a different
Oh,
fighter that retreated.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I can't remember off
I
the top
don't
of my head.
remember. I didn't.
Huh. I'm trying to remember. Let's see
I'm sure
here.
somebody in the chat has it ready probably. So
Honestly,
Pikachu's going second, by the way. So,
see.
and this is a solid start. I probably would. I don't know. I would have probably started with the Zapdos just
Mm-hmm.
because you've got a big body there. You're putting 20 damage, but the appeal of starting with Blitzel is if you find Zebstrika, you can deal more damage, and you also your liability is only a one prizer. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, sacrificing 2 points is not what you want in this game. But if it sticks as a Blitzel, we don't see a Zebstrika. There's some world where, like, Charizard with 3 energies on it can KO Blitzel and take their first point. Or even, obviously, that Moltres EX as well.
yeah, and the Charizard player here opening up with double Moltres, no other basics that are on the bench. Maybe they were saving them, not putting them down. Either way,
Mm-hmm.
this Zebstrika, or if they have Zebstrika, it could, man. I mean, this Moltres is only going to have one turn to ramp potentially.
Yeah, it's
So
very
very strong
true.
start. I mean,
Okay, Charizard Commander and Growlithe now.
okay, so yeah, if they have Arcanine, they have the answer. That's going to be the big turning point. If they have, they need one heads right here, and then they need to have Arcanine.
One? Oh. And on the
Oh, okay,
Charmander,
well,
though. And
yeah.
Substrika.
I mean, this is going to be a tough game to win.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tough game to win. I think in some world maybe we could see like a retreat back to the other Moltres if we could find like a leaf. Obviously we cannot sacrifice energy right now, but that at least would give us 3 turns instead of 2. Uh, but no.
Yeah, potion doesn't even fix this, right?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I guess it technically does.
Yeah, we put it up to 70, but then Pikachu, if we get a full bench, still KOs it. If we even get 2 Pokemon on the bench, it KOs it. Uh, oh, we're
Okay,
going for
so they're choosing
Charmander.
to put the char.
Pikachu's okay this Moltres.
Okay,
So
so the
Charmander comes
Charmeleon is
down.
going to be on a clock.
We need to hit like Realize maybe we don't need to hit 2, but I think we need to hit close to 2 because Pikachu, and have Charizard in hand because Pikachu can KO Moltres this next turn. Ooh, 3. Not bad,
Okay.
Moltres. Not bad.
Yeah, this game is quickly turning. The potential to steal this game, even though Pikachu went second, started with the Blitzel into a Zebstrika and Pikachu. I mean, the potential for Charizard to come back in this game is very much alive.
Yeah.
Now, as the Pikachu player here, you're scared to death to move your Pikachu EX in. I mean, it looks like the correct play is probably Dedenne and hoping that you can flip heads, maybe put that Moltres into range to knock it out. But this is getting into sketchy territory for the Pikachu player.
I wonder if we could also see another hit into that Charmeleon to force Charizard to be within the 3 coin flip range if we go for Zapdos again. Because we could potion back to, 170, and then we have to have 4. That being said, we are 3 energies away, so minimum 3, well, 2 turns, if not including this one. So maybe you don't want to do that, but we are going to do that. We're kind of still putting that Charmeleon on a timer. You don't have Charizard right now? 0.1, thank you. But we have Charizard.
Yep, there's the Charizard. So 120 HP. They need to have a pivot card here, but Dedenne still might be able to get a crucial paralysis. Unfortunately, you're not going to have time to get Zapdos going.
Yeah, I don't think you have. Yeah.
So that basically means that the energy you just put on Zapdos kind of set you back a little bit.
I mean, I guess we could just sacrifice Dedenne, right? Not even put an energy on him. Just go on and power up Zapdos and just pray that they don't have Sabrina. Are you running Sabrina? They're running 1 Sabrina, but how many cards are left in their deck? I don't know. You could make a bet, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't have Sabrina this turn. I'm just going to power up. Do what you're going to do.
Well, even if they have Sabrina, now that you have a 1 prizer on the bench, you don't mind giving up the Blitzel. So that's a point if you wanted to go with that play. Either way, it's going to come down to coin flips, whether it's Zapdos or Dedenne getting the paralysis. Even if you flip 1 heads with Dedenne, it's still going to only put the Charizard at 110, and a potion pushes that back up to 130. So you still are needing to depend on Zapdos.
Yeah.
Right there, you look, we're obviously backseat gaming, but you know, I think probably, yeah, either way you're depending on coin flips.
Oh, we finally hit heads.
Okay.
So
yeah, so there's 1 crucial hedge. If they can get 1 more heads and avoid potion, they've definitely got a shot.
Yeah, I think it's like a 60. People keep correcting me on the exact 100th and 10th of the percentage point, but a 68% chance if we can get this Charizard down to 100 for a KO with that Zapdos flip. That being said, is there a Giovanni in this Pikachu list? Let me quickly check.
Yeah, they have one in, yeah.
So we could see a Giovanni Pikachu as well if we can get it to 100.
Yeah, we're just looking for a potion for this Charizard player is what it seems like. By the way, I mean, this is an important time to say, I mean, hey, this is why Dedenne is a card that I think definitely deserves a spot in Pikachu Zebstrika variants. Now, you can make an argument for like the different variants that are playing like Raichu and stuff. Yeah, you just send in the Blitzel here.
For sure.
But you know, again, Dedenne, I think, was pretty much a strict upgrade compared to Pincurchin, which a lot of Pikachu decks were playing previously.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I almost think that Dedenne has a slot in any Pikachu deck. Not just the Zebstrika version, just because that Paralyze can change games from auto losses to a 50-50 coin flip. Or in some case, more, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, you're buying 1 extra turn potentially. I think the biggest argument and the biggest pushback that people will have about Dedenne is if I play the base Zapdos, which has 100 HP, right, non-EX, that it could be a bigger body and maybe give me a little bit more time, and I don't have to depend on coin flips. But personally, I just think that the utility that the Dene gives me is definitely worth it. So here we go. It seems like another
Okay.
paralysis would be very crucial.
I'm not
Here we
even sure he
go.
needs another paralysis. He's at one. Oh, but we're gonna hit it. And because either way, once we coin flip here with that Zapdos, if we do that, uh, if we miss it, Charizard still wins with that 1 point. Potion does come down though. Um, so no Pikachu as a choice. Hmm. How many more Dedennés can we get? Can we get 2 more? Can we get 2 more
Oh man,
Dedennés?
you almost don't mind pivoting into Zebstrika here.
Yeah, and swinging for 30 into that Charizard. I don't think it would be the worst play. I don't think it would be the worst play.
But it's because so if you pivot into the Zebstrika and you just pay the energy cost, I don't think you mind paying the energy cost. I don't think it's going to come back to bite you, and that X speed might be crucial later on if you have to pivot again.
Mm-hmm.
But it could come down to Arcanine coming down on the other side, and your Zapdos having to finish off the Arcanine after surviving a hit. There's a weird scenario where I guess a tie could happen as well, with Arcanine and Zapdos.
That is
Um,
true. Yeah, Chikara
yeah,
is
I
0 points. That's a
this is a tough spot. I think the play that I would make here is go into Zebstrika. I think that would probably be the best play to put myself in a position to win. And at that point, again, you're just, oh, they got to go. They got to go. They're going to clock themselves. Okay.
okay. So
Oh,
they did go to
man.
Dene. So here's the thing, though, is if we had gone Zebstrika, Char's. If we just not get a coin flip, or I don't know how that one works, but if we don't, if we could have gotten Zebstrika, Charizard would have also had to discard its last, 2 energies to KO Zebstrika, which would mean it couldn't KO Zapdos or Pikachu. Um, Even if Zapdos hit 0 heads. But he
You're
can swing for 60
100%
here.
right.
So
You're 100% right. The correct line was definitely Zebstrika there. Unfortunately, the clock put pressure because the game actions would have probably taken too long to
yeah.
retreat and all those animations. And by the way, the coin flip did happen, but because the clock went down to zero, the it fast forward past the coin flip, so we don't get to see it, but we know that it flipped tails.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see he was choosing it. He did attach that energy to Zebstrika, but we were already at I think 12, 15 seconds when he attached to Zebstrika. So he was still debating. I saw it hit 18 and I was like, wait, what if this just passes and he doesn't notice? That would have been a really
Oh my
sad
gosh,
game.
these players have got to go.
Yeah, they do. Charizard can go and swing with 3 energies. He doesn't need to do it, and obviously, Pikachu's not an option. Zapdos, if we could hit Giovanni, could swing for 2 heads, 68%. Otherwise, we're going for a 33% 3 heads situation here.
Oh my gosh, yeah, chat went crazy over
Yeah,
the timeout.
they always
I'm
do.
watching that.
Let's
Oh
see.
man, yeah, dude, that. Oh man, I mean now. I guess Sabrina. Oh no, I guess the Zapdos being on the bench is going to help. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, I 100% stand by the play to put in the Zebstrika. Unfortunately, the clock runs out, so now we are where we are. We got to wipe
Yeah.
that and kind of look at the game board right now. The game board is just going to come down to saying, "Hey, I got to put this energy on Zapdos. I got to hope that I hit 3 heads."
Yes,
And that's just it. There's no other way. There's no other play here.
for sure. Let's see. We have 5 cards in the discard pile. We have 3 on the board on the bench, 3 in the active. That's 11, plus 5 on the hand. That means 17 cards, 16 cards have been seen. What are the odds Arcanine has not been seen yet, Uh, Wait, so we still go for Zebstrika? I don't understand this at all.
I think they just didn't realize that they only have one more point left.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
now we win.
that's
That's a sad
that's
way to lose.
tragic.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
good run, man. Unfortunately, I think kind of, the time got into got a little bit of pressure there, and unfortunately, there's just a string of plays at the end of that game that end up deciding it. But that doesn't take anything away from a top 8 run.
For
Always
sure.
important to keep in mind when you are in that spot of being featured, or a stream is on you. There is pressure, and sometimes you can feel that, and sometimes it may impact your gameplay.
No, I completely agree. It is a bit of an. It is sad to see, and it also just happens to all of us all the time. The pressure, both of the fact that going from top 8 to top 4 is a different prize bracket. Being on stream, all sorts of things can change how you're feeling about the game, and it is so much easier to see wins, lines, and things like that as a spectator than it is for a player in that moment as they are trying to do it. So that being said, we are going to be going into our top 4. We do them asynchronously, so we will get to watch that Charizard again. This time versus a Mewtwo, because it was a Mewtwo versus Mewtwo. But you can see here, it is actually a Zebstrika mirror in the bottom.
Oh, shout out to the Pikachu players keeping the dream alive. It looks like this is the Genetic Apex format part 2. I mean,
there's a Mew EX still, thank you.
Oh yeah, hey, featuring Mew EX. And it looks like our picks are going head to head. Is that what we're seeing? We're seeing the Charizard versus the Mewtwo?
Yeah, we are going to see Charizard versus Mewtwo, which does mean this is going to, I mean, obviously, Pikachu could still beat Charizard, Pikachu could still beat Mewtwo in the finals, but I think this is when you and I are fighting.
Yeah, I mean, we're we have a little bit of a battle going on in this matchup, and I got to tell you, I'm excited to see this matchup because it is a classic matchup from the Genetic Apex format. Now we're seeing a little bit of a curveball, and we were just talking about how the Mew EX in this Charizard, Moltres deck, it wasn't great for the Pikachu matchup. Now it's phenomenal. I mean, you're saying, hey, I've got Mew EX to check your Mewtwo player. What's up? I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, that can be absolutely gigantic in this matchup. So we'll have to see how it goes. Let me tell them they can get started here.
And it does work both ways, ladies and gentlemen. We do have the opportunity where Mew EX in the Gardevoir deck could copy a Charizard attack and swing the whole game. Mew EX may be a ultimate X factor in this matchup, something to definitely pay attention to.
Yeah, no, for sure. That Mew EX really puts that pressure out. It says, oh, you want to bring Charizard out or you want to bring Mewtwo out? Please try. That being said, Mewtwo does get the ability of using as a support character with that, or support mon with that Gardevoir to help power up Mew EX. And we don't get that option in Charizard. Moltres only attaches to fire Pokemon, not, any mon on the bench. So I was thinking, since we just, wait, which position did we watch? We watched Pikachu. It looks like we can watch either position. Which one would you like to see? Would you like to see Zarkanine, or would you like to watch a Mewtwo position? POV.
Oh, we got to go for the Mewtwo point of view.
Let's do it then. That's gonna be channel. Let's see, channel 21. No, that's the wrong one. Channel 8. Oh, it's channel 1 now. Yeah, the mods are changing the channel names. So it is.
All right, channel 1. I'll see you there.
See you there. Okay, and then we'll get this going.
Yeah, so a couple of key techs. This is the first time we're seeing this Mewtwo variant. It's featuring one Sabrina, one Leaf, and one Blue.
Ooh.
It is also featuring double X speed. So a lot of pivot in this Mewtwo deck. When you take a look at the Charizard deck, It features one Growlithe, one Arcanine, and one Mew EX, as well as one Potion. And honestly, Potion may be a dead card in this matchup, similar to what we just saw in the previous match where Potion just kind of stuck in the hand. But we will see how this plays out. Very intrigued. Maybe the blue ends up saving Mewtwo in this matchup. That's a little bit of potential foreshadowing. But man, this is going to be an interesting match to see what they cook up.
Yeah, I cannot wait. It'll be super cool to see. There's a red. Which deck has the red card? Just so that I know here. Or did you say neither has red
So
card?
neither's playing red card. However, blue is in the Mewtwo deck from what I'm seeing.
Blue, interesting. Yeah, I guess that really does help with Mew EX, and it's not like they're going to be able to hide that their Mew EX is getting set up, since you have to attach by hand every single turn. So,
and another important part here, there's no Giovanni. So even if the Gardevoir player plays their Mewtwo in the active, swings for 150, and then combos that with blue, there's no chance that the Mew EX could Giovanni to offset that blue and return KO for 150. So yeah, a little bit of footsies there, but blue finally getting a potential chance to shine in this matchup. Let's get this show on the road. I can't wait to see how this game plays out. Great decks in the top 4, although no Gyarados, no like mythical island, pure mythical island type decks, but we still are going to see the influence from mythical island in all of these decks.
For sure, for sure. I'm really excited to see how blue gets played. I think sometimes blue can be one of the most interesting cards. You just never expect it. Even when you look at the list, like, oh, there's a blue there, you just never expect it. And sometimes it plays a role that you just don't see until way later in the game. So it'll be really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, blue is just one of those cards that you probably hate to see when it comes down from your opponent, because it just kind of throws a wrench in your plans, especially with no Giovanni. So here we go. It looks like we've got a Moltres opener. They're going first. And the Gardevoir Mewtwo player opens with Mewtwo in the active and Ralts on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, not the worst, but on Jamaco's side, where is a Charmander? Where is, I mean, Arcanine? We don't really want to see. We don't really want to be fighting with Arcanine in this matchup either. So. Nah,
I mean, the best thing that Arcanine can do is, hopefully get a little bit of damage on that Mew EX. I mean, but again, with no Giovanni in either of these decks, there's no damage modification to increase damage.
Yeah, very, very, very true. Okay. Does blue
and just like that, we see a Growlithe come down on the bench. No. So Arcanine may have no choice.
1, 2 energies on the Growlithe, just like you're saying. No choice here. Blue doesn't affect recoil, right? Even though it's technically a damage from an attack.
I want to say blue says your Pokemon.
Okay.
So it shouldn't impact recoil. And man, look at this hand for the Gardevoir player. Jeez. What a top deck if you were able to catch that on the stream.
Here we are up.
You got the Curlia.
But yeah, having that Curlia is going to be so nice there, especially if they can get a Gardevoir just as fast, because with this energy advantage of going second, Mewtwo could be swinging for 150 next turn and take their first 2 points.
Hey, I mean, I guess the curveball here is if you're able to pivot out of the active and just immediately put pressure on this Mewtwo, you would feel good if you're the Charizard player. But again, that Gardevoir in the background could spell a very quick game.
Yeah, that is for sure. I don't even know that Jamaco has a play here, sadly. Especially now that we have Arcanine down. I don't know. It looks like we're gonna have a Sabrina, which a little defensive Sabrina could be really nice. Force Veniscus to use some of their energy to retreat with this Ralts if they don't have a leaf or X speed. But they're running 2 X speed, I believe is what you said. So let me just double check.
Yeah, 2 X speed and a leaf for the Mewtwo player, and for the Arcazard player, that's their last Sabrina. So Sabrina will not be a factor for the rest of this match. And that is something that you hate to see. 3 tails
No,
from a Moltres.
that is not what they want at all.
Yeah, this is potentially going to be a very quick game. I mean, what a couple of back-to-back top decks if you were able to catch that on the screen. Wow.
Ouch. And X speed happened. So 150.
And honestly, the crazy part is, even if they found a way to turbo that Mew, you know, again, there's a chance that Blue would be able to stop Mewtwo EX from being revenge knocked out. I mean, this is just all-time worst-case scenario right here.
For sure.
Yeah, so, yeah, there's the concede. I don't know that language, but I know a concede screen when I see it, and it looks like Mewtwo is going to take the lead in this matchup.
Jocko, you gotta show up for me, buddy. This is my game. We need Charizard to make it to the finals. That being said, though, Jocko tried their hardest. You can't do anything if you don't draw the cards you need. That is how sometimes card games work. Very sad to see, but yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, you don't need to draw Professor's Research if your draws are perfect like that. I mean, that's essentially what we just witnessed. The draws were so good, they didn't need to draw extra cards. They drew the exact cards they needed to not only win the game, but they had a blue in their hand. So they could have easily have also played defense.
Makes sense. Yeah, I would not want to be in Jocko's position right now. I mean, other than the fact that top 4 means I could be in finals, going against a blue list or a Mewtwo deck like this, it's a rough spot to be in, especially after finishing a game 1 as a not the victor. So
well, here we go.
Stream.
It looks like, by the way, if you're, you know, waiting for the screen to pop up, Mewtwo is going first in this game. They did open with Ralt in the active, and Mewtwo is now on the bench. The Arcazard player opened with Moltres EX, so we'll see how this game plays out. Very strong opener for the Gardevoir player, using a Mythical Slap and resolving it. And right after that, ripping a Professor's Research. So Mewtwo off to the races with a very strong start.
Yeah, that is a really nice start for that Mewtwo. The only thing is it won't be able to swing for 150 the moment. If they get that Gardevoir on the curve, they won't be able to have 150 swing. Does give Jumako a little bit of extra time to get that Charizard set up. But then it becomes a question is, what about Mew EX? What about Mewtwo? Who do you fight with? We'll have to see, and there is no basic down for Jumako, which means there's not going to be a Charizard, or Charmander. And I don't even know if you can get a Charizard online. Since he was off the Kirlia, he just needs to find the Gardevoir. Like, I don't even know that you can get a Charizard online right now in time for that Charizard, for that Mewtwo EX swing.
I mean, honestly, this is one of those games where I would have slapped that Ralts down on the bench and said, yeah, I might even hit double Gardevoir. You know, looking at this game board state, you know, this Charizard player is probably, man, that's tough. Oh, no.
Ouch.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that there's any chance to come back in this now.
Me either.
Wow.
You're going to use energy to retreat. But it doesn't mean anything, sadly. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I mean,
ouch, ouch, ouch.
You know, I think that this does demonstrate part of the reason why Mewtwo is just such a good deck. I mean, obviously, you know, any deck that's able to curve their stage 2 Pokemon is going to be strong, but it's also the fact that Mewtwo and Gardevoir have Mythical Slab that can get you, you know, one card closer to that stage 2 on curve. And, you know, there's just, when I saw that card, Mythical Slab, I just kind of slapped my forehead and said, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did this.
Honestly, Mewtwo is already one of the most, like, obviously Pikachu consistent because obviously you only need basics, but Mewtwo is definitely one of the most consistent decks already, and it is the only deck, essentially, that got more consistency cards. If they'd done it for, like, any Pokemon, I think I would have been really happy. But that being said, Mewtwo is so consistent now with Mythical Slab.
Yeah, and Mythical Slab is one of those cards that, you know, right now at the state of the game, all we really look at it for is for this Gardevoir and Mewtwo deck. But, you know, like, I'm sure a lot of people in the chat have seen there's Gengar decks, there's Alakazam decks, there's, you know, single prize Behemoth decks and stuff like that. You know, Mythical Slab is just so good for the entire type of Psychic. But what a
Yeah.
quick match there. Unfortunate for the Charizard player, but again, congrats to both players for making it this far.
Yeah, congrats to both of them. My gosh. Masterful by the Mewtwo. I wish the deck would have played better for the Charizard player, but it seems like
I mean, that there's nothing that they could have done to really
Exactly.
change the outcome of that match.
That was so sad. That was tragic for sure. So we will get this second set going. It is gonna be that Zebstrika mirror though. I'm gonna quickly check the cards for it. 1 second though. One checking my.
Yeah, pulling up the deck list as well. It's funny, Random Ways was actually the player that in the very first round of top 32 played a mirror match with the exact same 20 cards. So that was pretty funny. Oh my gosh, is this the same thing?
Wait, is it happening
Yes.
again? It's with
Yes.
an Electabuzz. Are they both Electabuzz players?
Yes, unless I'm misclicking,
Oh
it
my
looks like an
gosh.
exact 20 mirror match.
I think you're right. That is yeah, one Giovanni, one Zapdos EX, a Dedenne, and an Electabuzz with obviously that 2/2 Zebstrika line. This is gonna be really interesting. I mean, I think Electabuzz is such a cool addition, and yet at the same time, it's like, is Zebstrika not enough for you? Is Zebstrika not enough for you? I don't understand at the same time.
They need all the snipers. So, yeah, well, hey, I guess, you know, this is the second time in Top Cut that, you know, Random Ways is going to play a mirror match with the exact same 20. It's worth noting that this, I believe this exact same deck actually won another gigantic tournament literally earlier today. So
wow.
this
Okay.
deck is hot right now.
So, which player's POV would you like to watch? Random or random?
Oh, let's go to Random Ways. I got to go ahead and see from their point of view.
Let's go to channel 4 then.
Alrighty. Man, here we go. So I guess no matter what, we're pretty much getting set up for a Mewtwo and Pikachu finals. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
I am kind of sad. I mean, very proud of how the Mewtwo player played. I wanted Charizard to win this time. But
Hey, that deck has been so impressive. You know, a lot of people counted out Charizard after we saw Mew EX. And as a quick side note, I just think that we maybe counted it out too soon because it does take a little bit of time for that Mew EX to really build up those 3 energies. But looking at this matchup right now, again, an exact mirror match. Both of these deck lists are identical. You're seeing the Electabuzz technology. There's one Zapdos in both of these decks, double Sabrina, one Giovanni, and double Potion. So this is going to be a lot of footsies here, a lot of pivoting and a lot of footsies.
We'll have to see what they decide to do, but it's really interesting. I mean, the huge difference between Zebstrika and Electabuzz. Electabuzz can swing for 40, but takes 2 energies and is 70 health. The 70, 80. 70, 80. I don't know which one. Health?
70, yeah.
70 health. Zebstrika, stage 1, so it has to evolve. Only takes 1 energy, swings for 30, is 90 health. But Blitzel can swing for 1 as well, and we can see that damage already come down onto that Electabuzz.
Yeah, and you're already seeing the the player at the top is going ahead and neglecting putting energy on the Electabuzz because they're kind of assuming that this Pokemon is probably toast. With no red card in either of these decks, you can feel comfortable with holding information here and, giving the illusion of not having enough basics, but Random Ways is saying, hey, I'm just going to slap these Pokemon down, start getting my Pikachu ready to go. And yeah, I mean, right now, I would say the advantage is definitely on Random Ways right now. And part of that is they went second.
Yeah, and I mean, they're even opting to start putting damage on that Electabuzz. Oh my god. Zapdos as well, meaning, though there's a potion that came down now, Pikachu swings for 110 because of type advantage. Yes. And potentially 120 with the Giovanni. So let me double check if they have one, but I believe that you said there's a Giovanni. So because of that hit is also in range, Electabuzz also just loitering there in that active spot with that single energy on him.
Yeah, and the only saving grace is they can't Sabrina and Giovanni the same turn, right? So,
Exactly.
this Zepstrike is probably just going to take its time, put another 20 or 30 damage on the Zapdos. And right here, this energy attachment might be crucial. I don't mind putting energy on a Zapdos here. Would have definitely liked to have seen another Pikachu. But hey, you're already off to a really great start.
Yeah, for sure. And just like you said, they put that damage on that Zapdos. Even though they are running second potion, it doesn't bring it out of range being KO'd by a Pikachu, but it looks like Brandon might have been just holding those different Pokemon in his hand, waiting until he actually needed to do something about it.
Yeah, I wonder if they just top decked the Pikachu, because otherwise I would have probably put the Pikachu down last turn and put an energy on it. Now Zepstrike is just going to put 30 damage on the Pikachu and continue building up this Zapdos. Actually, I mean, hey, again, if I have Pikachu, I'm not sure that I wouldn't mind putting that down and getting that Pikachu built. But I don't know, tough footsies right here, and these are the micro decisions that do really impact this mirror match.
Yeah, I completely agree. Every single decision they make in this matchup is going to have effects, and it comes down on one hand who draws better, but also who plays it better, right? Like, there's so many different choices, especially that you make in Pikachu. You have 4, 5 different attackers in this deck that you have to decide who gets energy, who doesn't get energy, who do I put down. And with Zebstrika just zapping away, when do I put them down? Because it could spell disaster for those cards.
Yeah, and generally there's a few rule of thumbs when it comes to the mirror match, and usually the player who moves their Pikachu in first, if they don't secure a knockout, it is very dangerous. At the same time, if you are the player that collects the first knockout in this mirror match, usually that is a good thing. But in this scenario, you're seeing that Pikachu move in. They're going to collect a knockout on this Zebstrika. And now they're just going to trade KOs, and Zapdos has the potential to, flip some coins and win the game. So, yeah, I mean, it's just going to come down to some coin flips now.
Yeah, big thing though here is Pikachu's been able to hold mini basics in their hand this entire game. And so they can play them now to swing and KO that Pikachu. I don't know that they had if Brandon had potion or they didn't have potion, but a potion could have brought this Pikachu back out of range if he just said, "Oh, I'm sure they're already down," if he has them. But we are going to need 3 heads to KO this Pikachu now from that Zapdos.
And it's really interesting because if you're watching this game and you see Zebstrika put 30 damage on Zapdos, put 30 damage on Pikachu, you would think that they're in a really good spot, but it actually, the tables completely turned. And now, I mean, even though you had that solid start, that great start, there's a potential for you to, unfortunately, lose this game right here.
For sure. And this is
for the game.
Yep. Pikachu wins if we don't hit the heads. We need 3. 1, 2. Oh, but we hit it on the last coin. We hit it.
Oh man.
Ouch. and that's going to be game 1 of their series. So we'll let them get set. That is game 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, great footsies there. And again, I kind of mentioned it a little bit. If you move your Pikachu in first, hopefully you're securing a knockout, because otherwise it's a very tricky game to win. And that's more or less what we ended up seeing. Now, obviously, it took Zapdos being an absolute, unit and getting 3 heads. But man, what a tough game to lose if you're Random Ways here.
Yeah.
You really thought you had that one secured.
Yeah, I would. That would be devastating. Like, you set up the whole board, you think you have everything ready, but the coins just don't. Well, they don't not land in your favor, but they land in Brandon's favor in this position. So, kind of. I mean, sad to see, but is there a world where not being aggressive enough maybe lost Random that game? Because Brandon took that hit, right? They said, I lose my Pikachu, but I'm going to take the first point. And we are going to go in and get into our game 2 here, guys. It is officially up on screen, starting with that Blitzel again on Random Way side. But this time, Brandon does start with a Pikachu. Good, bad, not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, in that last game, you can make the argument that the Zebstrika putting 30 on the Pikachu maybe was the turning point, because they could have potentially moved in, secured the first knockout, and forced the Zapdos in early, and made it flip the 3 coins earlier. And that's probably the crucial turning point of that game. But again, woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of things that we can see from the eagle eye view. Very different. But yeah, it was definitely a turning point putting that Pikachu damage down. You're like, I need to do it because now my Pikachu can KO it, but just like you're saying, you could have gone in, taken that first point, and I do believe they already had that second Pikachu in hand at that point, but I could be wrong on that one.
Yeah, I mean, the Zapdos that would have been coming into the active would have had 90 damage, so they would have needed to flip the 3 coins then, and if they flip 3 heads, you're not dead, you're not knocked out yet, because, they still need one more knockout, but... Anyways, now we've got this game, and again, a solid start with the Zebstrika, but Pikachu only dealing 60 damage because there's only 2 electric types on the bench. Let's see how they maneuver in this game.
Yeah, it's a good question. Zebstrika's already low here, but no one's set up on the bench. The only person who could be set up is that Dedenne, but a tell spells...
You've got double X. I guess the chat doesn't know this, but you could potentially pivot into Zapdos to absorb damage while you build your own Pikachu. That's certainly a play, and you could even put 20 damage on that Pikachu with the Zapdos if you did that pivot. But the play that they just did is basically saying, hey, we'll give up this Zebstrika knockout and hopefully trade 1 point for 2 points.
Yeah. Yeah, Zebstrika does appear as well on Brandon's side, but yeah, it looks like we're just going to be trading that 1-pointer. But I wonder if we're about to bring in Zebstrika, say, you're going to trade 1 point, but not for 2, because Zebstrika could swing for 30 here. KO, and then and then our Pikachu does need to find another basic. Yep, looks like we're gonna hit that.
Are they gonna? Do they have a Giovanni? Is that what this is? Oh no. Okay, Zebstrika. Okay, yeah. Zebstrika. So sniper on sniper crime right here.
Oh no.
I guess they're deciding if it's worth it to hit the Pikachu here.
Yeah, it's definitely a question, right? Otherwise, you have to either 2-hit KO that Pikachu, and they are going to do that, it looks like.
Yeah. So a lot of footsies in this matchup.
Yeah. It's for sure back and forth. A little bit of a stalemate, saying who's gonna do what first.
I mean, it definitely seems like the player at the top probably has the advantage at this moment, but the way that things can change in this matchup so quickly, I wouldn't necessarily write off Random Ways just yet.
Agreed.
This Sabrina, it 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 seems more like a just throwing a card out there because there's really not a ton of other options.
Very true.
And this is
Oh, we're gonna do
okay,
Dene
they're
stall
going
it. Okay.
okay. So they're gonna go ahead and
Okay.
try to get a paralyzed to set up a Pikachu knockout, I'm guessing, is
I
gonna
think
be the
so.
play.
Oh, we hit the heads. Sorry for yelling. But oh my
No,
gosh,
no,
we hit the heads.
that is a shocking flip because just like I was just saying, you can this matchup can flip on a dime. This game just drastically changed.
Flip on a Dedenne, some might say. But yeah, I mean, now all we need is a retreat back. Pikachu KOs. But we need something in response to whatever appears as well.
Oh my gosh, that potion, gigantic top deck.
Very nice top deck for sure. Gonna bring it back out of range of that Pikachu, who is in range of our Pikachu.
Oh man, this game just completely turned.
It was like almost dead in the water, and it is back alive.
I mean now, okay, so now you must have a potion, and you honestly need to play another Zapdos so you can protect yourself from Sabrina here.
Yeah, agreed. You need like potion. I'm assuming we're gonna hit in Zebstrika. And then maybe you pray. They're not gonna hit another basic. But so there's only one card in Random Boy's hand. There's a chance there's not a basic in that card.
Well, they can't deal with this Pikachu in one turn, so they're gonna have to. Oh, they in my eyes, they needed a Zapdos on the bench, and they probably needed to swing with it.
Yeah.
Like get it into the active, swing with it so the Pikachu is at 90. And then Zapdos absorbs the damage, they pivot out of it and bring in Pikachu. But even then, I think that they would just be toast to a potential Sabrina. I don't know that they had a line at all in that scenario with the cards that they had. So 1-1.
Agreed. Yeah, they're 1-1. We're gonna go into game 3 now. Woo!
Somebody in the chat said shocking flip.
Shocking. Either way, it could have been shocking, TBH. Let's see here.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, this has been a very back and forth game, a couple of games. Dedenne has played a big role. Potion has played a big role. Zebstrika has certainly played a big role. And then obviously Pikachu EX and Zapdos have done exactly what they are known for doing. So here it comes down to who's going second. This is a big, big turn.
Let them get set up here for 2 seconds. They are officially starting their first game, so the game is live now. We're starting Pikachu this time on Random Way's side. First time starting Pikachu. Brandon is back to that Electabuzz start.
And we haven't seen Electabuzz do anything except be a Pokemon on the bench, huh?
For sure, or a little tank in the active. But let's see here.
Watch this be the game where, Electabuzz just goes off.
Yeah, that would be... Can Electabuzz hit the active spot and not just the... I have not played Pikachu too much since Mystical Island came out. Maybe I'll have to do that.
Yeah, it's any of your opponent's Pokemon.
Just checking there. Always interesting to see who they decide can hit the active or if it's only the bench for those type of attacks. Yeah.
It would for sure be worse if it was only the bench. I mean, it would give you like it'd almost be like a, kind of like a worse Hitmonlee in a way, because less bulk,
It's
more
4 more.
expensive attack, you know, and the only trade-off is 10 more damage. So
Yeah, for sure. Looks like we're gonna have a. I don't know if you can count this as a defensive Sabrina. Is like.
oh, they're trying to bait.
Oh, but it's gonna use up Strika.
Yeah, they're just trying to bait.
We did
This
for
is,
sure. Yeah. All 3 basics in hand.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, just send in that 90 HP Pokemon. I have no bench.
I have no bench. This is a defensive. I promise. I don't have anything. Just 3 basics in my hand.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to
All
see
right,
here.
well, so this reminds me of the scenario that we had in game 1, where if you take the prize early and you force Zapdos to be an absolute hero, you're probably in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, that being said, we are early. There is no other energy on the board, though, for Random Way. So, what does that mean if we actually see a KO? We only need 3 heads. You've seen Zapdos hit more. Today, especially. Oh, we're gonna... Oh. What is the Geo
They're
for in
pushing the
this case?
chips all in.
1? Oh, missed.
A 110.
110. Well, the Dene KOs now, to be fair.
Yeah, if there's no potion, the Dene KOs, and also it's worth noting that Pikachu can't knock out this Zapdos.
Yes.
So this is interesting, right? You're almost getting punished here for filling your bench, because if you are able to find a Dedenne in this scenario, you're at least able to play that coin flip game. Now the way that things are looking, you almost want to get out of the active spot and pivot into something else to just prevent, deny your opponent from taking a knockout, because there's no Zebstrika on their side. But they're going to choose to keep the Pikachu in the active. I don't know about that, honestly. I don't know about that play.
I like it with the Electabuzz. What? The only problem is if Zapdos... Actually, if Zapdos hits both their potions, doesn't work, obviously. But... Okay, 1 potion. We have
Well, the
potion?
weakness. The weakness should take care of it, even if they do have double potion.
Not on bench, though. Weakness isn't on bench.
Oh, yeah, if they retreat out, yeah.
My assumption was they're going to retreat out to Dene KO Pikachu, and then Electabuzz gets pushed forward, and you KO the Zapdos on the bench. Yep, only 1 potion, though, and that's going to be... I think my random might take this game right here. It doesn't... The coin flip does not matter, because Pikachu will be knocked out.
Electabuzz is legitimately going to do something, ladies and gentlemen.
Electabuzz is going to do something. You talked bad about Electabuzz, and Electabuzz showed you this game. Just saying. You said it at the beginning of the match. So
I was just egging it on. That's all I was doing. I was encouraging it to show up and be important.
Well, it really took the encouragement, and that is going to finish off their game 3, stealing the win, finishing off that match, and though was expected, we will have a Mewtwo and Pikachu in the finals.
I can't believe that the Electabuzz ends up clinching the match after not doing anything any of the other games.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a funny one for sure. Here. I'm gonna quickly close off their match. I'll pop over to that meta breakdown just so we can look at our finals here, because this might be a familiar fate to some players, but it's gonna be Mewtwo versus Pikachu here in the finals, same we had 2 weeks ago, but this time it's a Mew EX Mewtwo instead of a Jinx Mewtwo. You are muted, it seems. One second. I think you're muted.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about this for a second. As mute is am I still muted?
I think I can hear you now. Yes, I think I can hear you there. I'm not sure what happened. It might have just been connection for a second. I'm not like fully sure. I cannot hear you. No, let's see. 1 second. We're having a small Oh, it's my internet, it looks like. It's my Discord. It's my Discord, not the mute. 1 second. 1 second here. Am I crashing on stream too? No, my stream quality, it's just Discord.
All right, testing. It should be fine.
Okay, it was my Discord is what the problem was, it looks like. I think.
Are we good now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay.
Oh, okay, perfect.
My Discord went to like 5,000 ms for a second. I was like, what's happening? Is my stream crashing? Stream wasn't crashing. Yeah, I don't know what that was. So not really sure. But
well, we've got a couple of things. Feel free to stop me if we need to move rooms. But one of the big things to pay attention to is blue in this Mewtwo Gardevoir deck. Mew EX as well as a one of, and just a standard Pikachu list that, again, hey, this Pikachu list seems to be really solid.
Yeah, the Pikachu list seems very solid. Really, really cool to see. And I wonder if we'll see some of those similar things in this next match. I'm trying to think if there's any like special math that we maybe should look out for, because I hadn't even had that math for the Zapdos in my head with the Electabuzz.
The only math that I can think of, and again, it can be negated with Giovanni, is if Mewtwo goes into the active and at 150 HP and the player uses blue, there is a chance that increases, the need for 4 heads as opposed to 3 heads. That's probably the biggest curveball in this matchup.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll have to see how that blue gets played, if it's going to be for a Zapdos attack, or what they decide to do. It'll be really interesting. I think the Pikachu player is taking a really quick water break to grab some water after that clincher of a game. And we are just going to wait a second here. But I'm really interested to see how this plays out. Do you think there's any difference between Mew EX decks and Jinx decks in their matchup into Zebstrika?
I think Jinx just does a really good job of being a body that either absorbs damage or puts pressure on opposing Pokemon while you're able to find your Gardevoir line and find your Mewtwo to, load up on the bench. In this matchup, it probably would be a little bit of a non-factor. At best, it's maybe putting some chip damage on Pikachu EX. But, no Giovanni on Mewtwo's side. I think this is just straight up going to come down to, does Gardevoir come down on curve? If Gardevoir comes down on curve, the Mewtwo player probably is going to have a great chance. I think that's pretty much, unfortunately, most of what the deck or what the matchup will hinge on.
Yeah, I think it may very well be that, barring some terrible draws on the Pikachu side. Do you have preference on which POV we watch from then?
Hey, we could stick with random ways. Let's it ain't broke.
Let's do that then. I'll go on and get that up and ready. We're going into our finals here. A BO3 that is going to decide the winner of today's tournament, which is going to be so exciting. We'll have to see. Electabuzz has made his way into the tournament.
Yeah, so it looks like we're starting off with Mew EX in the active, and the Mew EX player, the Gardevoir player, is going second, and then a Blitzel in the active for the Pikachu player. No red card for either deck list. And so these players may withhold cards. They may rip Professor's Research with no regard. But yeah, by the way, Mew EX went first. So important to note there.
Ooh. Very interesting, yeah. So I have it up on screen now for us to watch. We get to see just how these players deal with this matchup. Obviously, Zebstrika is, normally going to be the loser in this matchup, but we'll have to see what happens because obviously Random Ways has played really strong with this deck. And I'm gonna really quick check. They went against two Mewtwo's yesterday, so they did face two Mewtwo's in their entire run for our finals.
Yeah, and honestly, this matchup, I believe going into today, I had it at 53% for Mewtwo and 47% for Pikachu Zebstrika. So, I mean, hey, that's as close to a 50-50 as you can really get. But the Mewtwo comes down on the field. Blitzel gets evolved here, and energy is being spread out to Electabuzz, while Zebstrika deals 30 to the benched Mewtwo.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of nice, I think, getting that Mewtwo down. Now that it's at 120 health, Blue's not really going to do much for that coin flip with Zapdos if we do come down to that. And there are no Pokeballs in Meniscus's list, so no worries on Random Ways side for that issue.
Oh yeah, like no potions in the Mewtwo deck.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what word I said.
And the only way that Blue comes into the picture now, I think, would be Pikachu EX swinging for 90. If this Mewtwo gets down to 90 HP, and then Blue lowering that damage to 80, so Mewtwo would survive. However, it could be counteracted with a Giovanni, and it also could be counteracted by Electabuzz just hitting the Mewtwo for 40 as it is, right? So.
Very true, very true. Looks like we're going to retreat, though, back to Zebstrika, and no Ralts to be seen, because as you pointed out, it's going to be really important for Meniscus to really get their supporter set up.
Yeah, and prize denial is the name of the game right there. Just denying the Mewtwo deck from getting that 1 point. So now Pikachu EX would, if it gets knocked out, it would clinch the game. Definitely a 100% correct play. Now, as we flip back to the Mewtwo player, it's decision time. What are you going to do in this scenario that you do not have your Ralts? Are you going to go all in with this Mewtwo or not? I believe they're signaling that they're going to go all in with this Mewtwo. And there's the blue. Okay, here we go.
Interesting. Yeah, so I think that you said they're trying to protect against that Pikachu attack. And they're going for it.
Hoping that there's no Giovanni is pretty much the name of the game there.
Yeah, or this is going to be... I mean, obviously, they can still... Mew EX is there, but I think that might have been game. It might be game if we have Giovanni. Sometimes I can't tell if they're like showing us the card or if they're like, thinking about it themselves. Sometimes players will like try to show stream what they're gonna do, and I'm like, what are we going to do? Looks like we are gonna go Dedenne. That's gonna be the 10 damage that they need. Oh, it'll be 0 in this case.
Yeah, no damage.
We'll be burning off that blue. Tells.
Yeah, so they're just going for the paralysis there to prize deny. This is, again, the footsies in this matchup are very unique. If you find Ralts here, you may pivot into the Mew. However, you're opening yourself up to Sabrina.
Yeah.
You almost you're in a bad spot no matter what you do here because you found your Ralts so late.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting to note as well, with Meniscus' list, he's not running Giovanni. We obviously don't have a Gardevoir. The only way that we even KO this Dedenne this turn is if we swing for 150, because we can't swing for 60. And that's going to discard 2 energies. Pikachu's safe, and Gardevoir wouldn't be able to repower it next turn because best we have next turn is Acrylia. Bad spot for Meniscus, I think.
Yeah, I mean you're unfortunately in a bad spot no matter what you do here, and you're gonna need a little bit of luck here because You know, again, Sabrina is a nightmare card if this knockout ends up happening, which you can see them flashing the basics here. So
For sure. There's that second Pikachu. 90 damage, and that's gonna be 2 points for random waste.
here we go. So important draw right here. If you're the Mewtwo player, you want another body to slap down on the bench to protect yourself from Sabrina just losing you the game. And maybe it gives you the opportunity to just stall long enough to get Mewtwo up and going. But this is going to be a very hard spot to climb out of, you know, if I'm honest.
Yeah, definitely agreed here. Second Mewtwo comes down, but yes, you could build up a Mewtwo on the bench, but by the time, I don't think it's fast enough, I guess what I'm trying to say here. Don't think it's fast enough.
If they have the Gardevoir, they will have 2 more turns because the Mewtwo or the Mew EX can absorb 90 damage, but Zebstrika finishes it off. So yeah, I mean, you're probably cooked. This is probably Pikachu's game to lose at the way things are looking.
Yeah, I agree. No.
And no potions, no more blue. Yeah, that.
You gets KO'd here. Even if it retreats, there's no potions like you're saying, so. I don't know.
Yeah, the Zebstrika technology is just gonna, you know, just a little bit too late on the Gardevoir and Ralts. And hey, we've definitely got a match on our hands as Pikachu looks to be in firm control of this game.
I think we just retreat here though as Pikachu. We don't even swing into Mewtwo. We just snipe out that Mew EX with Electabuzz or Zebstrika. Looks like we're choosing Electabuzz and that'll do his game.
For a second, I thought the Electabuzz only had 1 energy. I was like, oh no.
That would have been a travesty. That happens. We all miss the energy sometimes. Or we think an energy's there and don't even look. It happens for sure.
So the blue extended the game a little bit, but not finding Ralts. And again, it goes back to the keys to this match is the Gardevoir deck going to find Gardevoir on curve? Because if it does, it's a tough game for the Pikachu deck to win. In that game, did not happen. Pikachu came out very strong, able to spread damage around and eventually secure the game. So well played by the Pikachu player. And, you know, again, the Gardevoir Mewtwo player did the best they could. Let's get to game 2. And the first thing, again, who's going second? You know, that's the big question here.
Gonna be a really big question going into this match. So let's see. We are going second as Pikachu.
Yeah, huge.
Gonna let them pick their starters and start the game before we pop this up. Let's see.
Yeah, very huge. And okay, so this game, it looks like the Mewtwo player did find their Ralts pretty early. So it's on their bench and then opening with the Mew EX in the active.
Yep, we do have that Mew EX up here and Mewtwo now. Vinny's just going to be looking for those Kirlias, those Gardevoirs, and then just safely probably setting up that Mewtwo EX behind that Mew. Let's see.
If the Pikachu player can find Pikachu EX at this next turn, could put this Mew EX on a clock as well, putting 20 more damage with the Zapdos would put it in range of a Pikachu knockout. The Kirlia comes down as well as another Ralts. So, hey, Gardevoir on curve definitely might be on the menu.
Yeah, it does. If Gardevoir comes down, obviously I don't care about the clock just that much. But I definitely agree. If we can find that Pikachu EX, it could be really nice in the case that the Gardevoir's miss.
I wonder what the decision is here. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear to go energy on Mewtwo because the Mewtwo is going to be the Pokemon that you want to sweep with here. So no, looking at the cards that they're playing, it looks like they're putting down a Blitzel, and then energy. Trying to decide where to put the energy. If I don't have Pikachu, it's gonna feel bad to put the energy on Zapdos EX because it might just get knocked out if the Gardevoir comes down on curve.
Yeah. Luckily, I guess there's a saving grace that it can't swing for 150 this turn.
Yeah.
But I don't know. If you don't get a Pikachu set up, it doesn't matter if you get one KO and then you get return KO'd. You can't do anything without another attacker. And yep, Gardevoir is on curve just like you said.
Yeah, so now this game might be potentially changing. You want to keep the Mew EX in the active. Worst case, you pivot into the Ralts, so that way you're only giving up 1 point. We'll see what they decide to do here.
Yeah. UX.
Okay, so they're going to give up potentially 2 points and leave that Mew EX in the active, and that 20 damage ultimately shouldn't matter. Pokeball here. Let's see what they find. Okay, there's the Pikachu EX. Unfortunately, I don't know that it matters too much.
No Pikachu EX. Ow. Yeah, I don't know that it matters like you're saying, but like, not a fun position to be in there. I guess we are gonna go for that Dedenne, but we need a lot of Dedenne swings at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, that's not a worst case scenario. If I'm the Mewtwo player, finding double Gardevoir would be pretty nasty if I'm able to get to that point. And assuming that Pokeball fizzles, I guess that means that the other Mewtwo EX is in their hand as one of those 2 cards.
Very true, very true.
I think that the only misplay that you could arguably make a case for is the Electabuzz being put down.
Yeah.
The turn before they found the Pikachu EX.
It was.
But that's probably, slightly nitpicky.
Mm-hmm.
So, Okay. There's no way they send in the Mewtwo, right? Oh, wow.
Looks like they are. I don't
Chat,
I
I
don't
did not
understand.
see that coming.
I guess it's because they can't really like knock out the Dedenne, but is that like too fast? Because now Zapdos comes in. Zapdos, I mean, only needs 3 heads, but
The way that I look at this scenario a lot of time is if my opponent has to flip 3 heads or 4 heads to win, that's sometimes that's just the best you can do. Because honestly, the game depends on it right here, right? If they
Yeah.
whiff on the coin flip, I just win the game the next turn. So
I just would be afraid to put my own, like, because we don't even have another Mewtwo EX set up on the bench. I would be worried about it because I swear when it happens, they always hit the 3 heads for me.
well, hey,
Against-
you would be able to use the Mew EX.
That is true, yeah. 2? Yeah, they hit the 3 heads.
Yeah.
They hit the 3
I mean,
heads.
Yeah, there's really not much you can do there. If your
Yeah.
opponent's flipping heads, you're probably losing. That's the way that I always look at this game, and it just boils down to that sometimes. But hey, they still have a chance to close out this game by sending in the Mew EX and using genome hacking.
Yeah. We just need 3 more heads, right? 3 more heads, and we're fine. I
Hey,
guess
if they flip 3 heads, certainly I can flip 3 heads. That's the way they got to think about it.
I guess there's some world we could see a retreat here back to that Mewtwo. Mewtwo, though also is only 3 heads, better than getting KO'd by that Pikachu if we miss here, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being the move. They're probably, you might be a little tilted at this point too.
Yeah, we're going for it.
And you're just kind of rushing things here, but we'll see what the coin flips say.
Oh,
Yeah.
It hit 3, but not 3 heads. 3 tails. Sad.
So the Pikachu is not fully loaded, so there's a little bit of saving
That
grace
is true.
there,
That's true. Yeah, I'm jumping the gun.
but only two heads is they need 50% on this coin flip here, and
Yeah,
even securing one, that's gonna put them in range of Zebstrika,
for
and it's not
sure.
like they can attack for 150. Um, so yeah, I mean, gonna need some luck on the coin flip, and then hopefully they're able to close the game out with some good coin flips of their own.
Agreed. Agreed.
Oh, you know what? They're not even gonna give them the opportunity. They're gonna
Oh,
retreat.
that's probably the better choice because now Electabuzz is set up to finish off next turn. Oh
Yep.
no! Did we just get checkmated? Because if I mean that's assuming Zebstrika is not gonna. Zebstrika can still come back as well. I
Yeah, I think that's it.
think that's it. You and Sabrina, you just go to Electabuzz. They go to 2 points, not 3. I think Random Way just checkmated.
Yeah, this is Zebstrika and Electabuzz doing a lot of work, and again, if you put yourself in a position where your opponent has to flip 3 heads to win, you can't hang your head about that. In my opinion, sometimes that's just the nature of the game, and you live by it and you lose by it. But now that this game is kind of winding down,
I guess
it's been a really good finals. It's been a really good top cut. I think it's been really solid play by a lot of players, and again, big congratulations to these players that have made it this far.
agreed. Agreed. Huge shout out to all of them that were able to make it this far. Absolutely fantastic and masterclass by Random Ways here. And that's going to be a 2-0 for Random Ways. And they are going to be Ursiiday's Pokemon Pocket Weekly number 11 winner. The victor of the entire tournament. 1,700 and I think 82, 86 player tournament. Absolutely insane and masterclass by them. So cool to see today. With that
Yeah, that Pikachu list, I mean, it took down 2 of the largest tournaments this weekend, back to back. Incredible run by that deck.
yeah, it did so well. I mean, it does seem like it's back to being the reigning champ Pikachu here. It looks like they took that Electabuzz. They're running Zebstrika. They know their exact game plan, and they've had a couple of months now to learn how to play Pikachu and know how to play it correctly. So fantastic job by Random Way. With that being said, I want to give a huge shout out here to Nothing But Bangers. Thank you so much for coming on here and casting with us today. I had so much fun getting to do all of our games here, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. It was absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Hey, again, I just want to give you a huge shout out for having the biggest tournaments every weekend and being such a great ambassador for the game. And obviously, I can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity and sharing this stage with me. I appreciate you so much, and I hope that you continue doing these great events and giving people a chance to showcase their abilities playing this game. Thank you so much, Ursi. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Is there any, for those who don't know, because I did accidentally mute earlier, is another thing. Nothing But Bangers is a really awesome YouTube content creator for Pokemon Pocket. They also stream on Twitch. I believe they stream on YouTube as well. They also have Twitter and I think maybe some other platforms. If you want to check out their links, just do !CoCaster in the channel. Is there any other content that you want to give a huge shout out to, or anybody else you want to shout out here?
Hey, I mean, just thank you guys. That I saw a lot of love in the chat, and I want to just thank everybody who has supported me on this journey of being a content creator for a game that I really enjoy. And without you guys giving me the support, I wouldn't be here sharing this stage with Ursi. And I still remember the first time that I streamed Pokemon Pocket. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden Ursiiday raids me, and I was like, oh. Well, thank you, and ever since then, I've been a huge fan of yours because, you gave me a chance when really I was just brand new on the scene, just kind of having fun. So again, thanks to you, Ursi. Thanks to everybody who's given me the support for the past few months, and I can't wait to see where this journey takes us, especially as we get towards the end of the month with the potential for the new set looming around the corner.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the new set. It's supposed to be my birthday. Oh, okay, it's not supposed to be because there's no leak on date, and I haven't seen anything about dates. But the last set dropped on a Tuesday, and my birthday is the Tuesday of the week that we expect the set to drop. So I'm hopeful to do like a birthday new set stream. So I'm really excited about that new set, and I cannot wait to see the different content that you put out with it. I'm sure they are going to be nothing but bangers. Sorry, chat. I have been holding that one in all stream. All stream.
Oh, that's awesome.
That being said, I do also want to give a huge shout out to all of our players today, not just random ways, though they did, as I said, absolute master classes of this Pikachu Zebstrika. I think anyone who wants to learn Pikachu Zebstrika should definitely check them out and watch those games, see how to play in the mirror match, how to play into Mewtwo, because they are some of the more difficult, but still not popular matchups you might run into. But this tournament could not happen without all of our top 32 who are willing to stream. It would not happen with all of our 1,786 players this week who are willing to play in our tournament. I think every single player and spectator who spends, what is this? Oh my God, we had 12 hours of streams this weekend who was willing to stream, willing to watch. Thank you guys so much, because I do want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, XP Collect. They're a fantastic card shop, but obviously we can never get a sponsor without people who are willing to sit here and watch us, and people who are willing to sit there and play for 12 hours across their weekend. It is so fantastic and awesome for our community to be able to host tournaments like this. You know, like that you guys even want to play in it, have a competitive scene this early, and thank you guys so much for being a part of this, because as I said, this couldn't happen without everyone here. And I just want to say, you know, everyone in chat, everyone who played, to our co-caster, to anyone who makes content, all this can only happen because of you guys, and I hope you all make sure to give yourself a good pat on the back, because you deserve it just as much as everyone. And with that, guys, we are going, it doesn't look like anyone from our top 32 is streaming today, so we're going to stream or raid someone who played yesterday, Valden TCG. I think they did play as Arcanine, which was my vote, but sadly, I think they went 8-2. So we're going to raid them. Thank you guys again. I do also want to give a huge shout out to our judges. I give too many shout outs, I feel like, sometimes, but we honestly could not do this tournament without our judges. We were able to co-cast, to broadcast the stream, because our judges are so fantastic. They run it so smoothly behind the scenes. They make sure every single person is streaming. They really know the exact channel to be in. If any games are still going, they're over there like, Ursi, go look. They're so fantastic, and they do such a great job supporting this tournament. So I do want to make sure everyone does give a huge thank you to them. Again, thank you so much, Nothing But Bangers, for co-casting with us today. Huge shout out to our viewers. Huge shout out to our fantastic sponsor who goes out on a limb to put up the 400 USD prize pool every week. And people who are new here, hi, I'm Ursi. I stream Pokemon Pocket about 7 days of the week. And I'd love to see you again tomorrow when we stream Pokemon Pocket. A little bit less tournament-y, and we're going to probably play the Zebstrika list. I fell at Pikachu so everyone can laugh at me, as I will accidentally only put one energy on my Electabuzz and not have the energies to attack because I talk too much to chat. But yeah, so I can't wait to see you guys soon. That being said, we would love for everyone to join our Discord. We have a really awesome and active community that we'd love to be a part of. We always post about the tournaments. We also have a community channel. And if you are a Twitch sub or a YouTube member, we have a hangout tonight at 7:30 p.m. where we're going to be playing Among Us with better crew links. It is so much fun, and we'd love to have you guys there. So I'll talk to you all again tomorrow. Bye-bye!
Peace.
I just realized this is going to cut halfway through because I have delay on. I did this 2 weeks in a row, but YouTube, you're still seeing me, and you're gonna get to see this even though you're not rated. So thank you, YouTube, for being here. And I'll say again, go do a YouTube membership, because I want you guys to play Among Us with me, and you got to see those really awesome birthday bubbles. So anyway, bye YouTube. We'll say bye to YouTube.